What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Bless, and you are locked into the moment of truth. I got my co-host to the left of me, Let Me Know. And today I have a very, very, very special treat for you guys. I have two cats that have been very integral in the scene for many years in Montreal. The illustrious, the notorious Flores brothers. My man JoJo Flores and the homie Toddy Flores. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, what's up?
Here.
What's going on? Thank you for having us, brother.
Thank you for being
About
here.
time, yo.
So for those who are not from our city, who might not be familiar, as unlikely as that is, with the Flores brothers, let's start with JoJo. Introduce yourself to the people.
Well, I've been DJing for many years. Also, on the business side of things, I've opened up a record store called Rotation back in the day in 99. 2000, started a record label called Got Soul. Opened a club a few years back called People. Host a couple of nights. One is Got Soul Sessions. The other one is Therapy. And yeah, and now my brother and I have a restaurant called Junior.
Nice.
So we're restaurateurs right now as well. So we're just adding more things to the table, you know, just keeping busy.
Absolutely.
Keep the hustle going, you know?
Absolutely. Well, everybody who knows anything about, house music in the city, your name rings bells probably first. Definitely one of the top few internationally to be recognized outside of our city. I personally have seen you in Miami. I've seen you playing in Toronto, and I know you play all over the world. I know your background was kind of more hip hop.
Yeah, I started as a hip hop DJ, and then eventually just transitioned into house music. But I still maintain my roots. I mean, I could still play. Through the music that my brother hooks me up with, through all the old stuff, the old records or vinyl that I still have, I still can, I'm still, you don't lose it, it's like riding a bike. You don't lose that sort of technique.
Well, I've known you for a very long time, and we met around 96.
Wow, yeah.
And you were definitely a hip hop DJ, so I don't anticipate you losing that anytime soon. And for those who have not been formally introduced to this gentleman, his younger brother, Toddy Flores.
Correct.
Introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, so I'm JoJo Flores' younger brother.
Who sometimes is mistaken for my older brother
because I'm more mature. I look the part. But I've been DJing for quite a while myself too. I was fortunate enough to watch my brother and other OG DJs from back in the days. And picked that up, and was lucky enough along the way to be business partner with my brother, because we, like you mentioned, we had the record store Rotation. Mm-hmm. Huge shout out to Grand Theft.
Shout out
because I remember back in the days he used to brown bag, so come every Sunday religiously looking for samples, and to see what he's managed to do, and see where he started from and stuff. So it's good to see, people coming out of, the Montreal scene and
putting in the work.
Yeah. And, people don't know, but, I like to think we're a part of his, growth. It's the start of it. Exactly. Yeah. And my brother even forgot to mention, but before the record store, he had a club called Chaos.
Yeah. Back in the day.
That was his first one.
That was on Ontario and Saint Laurent.
Nice.
That was in 93, 92, 93.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was before I was going out.
Yeah. See, so
that's
a lot.
Pre-Bless.
But that goes to show you how old he is. He's forgetting. He's forgetting.
Youthful.
Yeah. Right.
He's deceptively youthful.
Yeah. So lucky enough, we tour together. We do stuff together sometimes too, as the Flores brothers.
We try not to do it often, so the novelty doesn't wear out. For special occasions we'll play together. And we have fun with it. Actually, we went on tour together one time.
Yeah, we did.
We did Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto. So
you guys must come from a pretty musical family.
Yeah, our parents were into rock and roll, like the Beatles, and some even Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, for sure. The Gambler.
And then my sister was into like funk soul.
Yeah. Your sister was a singer too, right?
No. She was just a music lover. No, she was just a music lover, and she would bring back mixtapes from New York because all of her friends would go down to New York. Of course, WBLS, Kiss FM. Bring back the mixtapes, and then we basically when you're kids, you absorb everything, right? So we're listening to the music, and we just like, okay, our parents listen to rock and roll or country, and then my sister's listening to like, hip hop, R&B,
disco, funk,
funk.
Yeah.
That was a time when music was so magical because there was an element of having to discover shit. And
Right.
You felt
it was an exciting time because
you won a prize.
It was an exciting time because that was like the era where disco was sort of ending, and then hip hop was sort of starting, and then house music started coming out as well. So back then there weren't that many categories of music. It was either you're into reggae, you're into hip hop, you're into house, you're into like it's like, or you could be into all of them.
And all kind of electronic music was birthed from the same machines, right? They were all using the same samplers, the same drum machines, and that's why a lot of people don't realize that house music and hip hop were kind of intersecting from the very beginning of both movements.
Well, the birthplace of both of them were from New York. It just so happens that house music, it was created in New York, but really found its place in Chicago. So.
Of course.
But I remember, I don't know if it was a good thing, but when they fused hip hop and house and they called it hip house.
Yeah, Jungle Brothers did it.
Of course,
but even before then, Jungle
Slick
Brothers.
Rick had a house remix on the Ruler's Back album. Slick Rick, man.
Yeah. No, but I mean, they had Mr. Lee. Remember?
Yeah,
He was pretty.
No, they did. Yeah, they did a few hip house records.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people, especially maybe the younger cats, think that hip hop and house, fusing together started with Black Eyed Peas and Pitbull.
Right.
Because they didn't do the knowledge to maybe they weren't around when the B-boys were dancing on breaks on house records.
Well, look, Queen Latifah is a big house head, still is. You know.
I think
Missy Elliott.
I think all OG hip hop heads like us always, would appreciate soulful records regardless
of the genre,
of other genres.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I have a question, gentlemen. When you guys go on tour together, when you do the sacred shows, do you guys
the sacred shows.
Do you guys
slaughter a cow?
Do you guys ever know? Do you ever intertwine like your sets, like jump in, jump out, like a tag, or is it straight up two separate genres?
Well,
of music?
It depends. I mean, usually I'll play house, he'll play hip hop, R&B,
right.
And then sometimes I'll cross over, sometimes he'll cross over. Just depending on how the vibe is.
Okay,
correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like JoJo's been, a big name internationally in the house scene for a long time, and I feel like Toddy kind of became that default. If it was a hip hop night, you call Toddy, and if it's a special event, you would holler at JoJo. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
and I think both of you flourished because of that, right?
Yeah,
because,
I think it was like the yin and the yang sort of thing,
in a good way though.
Yeah.
I'm always happy. I'm like, well, who's playing? And they're like, oh, it's Toddy. I'm like, my man. Like, I know it ain't gonna be no bullshit music. And if it's house, if it's you playing, I know that I'm gonna get my shit.
Right.
It's not for me, I love soulful house. I love stuff with vocals and just that love vibe.
Right.
Well,
it's funny you say that because when I was doing my therapy night at Jello Bar, we converted a lot of people that weren't into house, that were like hip hop heads or or reggae heads, and they would be like, wow, this is cool, and then they start getting it.
Music.
Yeah, and they start getting into it. So we converted some people into liking house music or discovering it,
But don't forget, he also used to book like prominent hip hop DJs that also played house,
like Tony Touch.
I think you had Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, like
Did you bring Stretch Armstrong to the W? Was that you?
No, that was probably before us, but
I remember.
No, but like Dennis Ferrer, I was booking DJs that became international, like huge international DJs before they blew up. So that was sort of like. The
farm team. You had the farm team.
Yeah.
You would handpick who you thought was the next coming up, introduce them at the smaller, more intimate gigs.
Like Black Coffee. Look how huge he is now. But you know what? He came to Canada and he played my party like maybe 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now he's blown up.
Yeah, I know, man. I mean, I definitely credit you with being a pioneer in the house world, and a lot of people don't know that. Like we said, you started as a hip hop DJ. I don't know if you remember this, but I have a VHS tape.
Wow.
Somewhere.
He's dating us.
In my storage.
That's crazy.
Of a cable access low budget TV show.
I think I remember that.
I rapped on and he DJ'd for me.
I think I've even seen that.
That was by Videotron.
Yes.
Right?
That's at mom's house, right?
So that's what?
Those archived at mom's house?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I thought that's it. We performed at my mom's house. I was like,
That was I forget the name of the show, but Wagner. But I was the resident DJ for that show.
Wagner Rulli.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was like Biggie was still alive.
Yeah.
I remember I came through with the DKNY tech hat.
Wow.
And you know when Mace had the sleeveless cardigans, like the pre More Money More Problems.
That's crazy.
Right.
I remember
Wow.
that was one of my first like television appearances.
Right.
And JoJo and me did the performance
No
together.
way.
So
That is
shout out to
crazy.
you, man. You were part
Wow.
of my history.
Well, you know
That's
what? A lot of
crazy.
people don't even realize this, but my brother, he was DJing on a lot of like some really cool spots on Saint Laurent Street. This is back in the days.
When
And-
Saint Laurent, by the way, for those who don't know,
Yeah.
wasn't college students, it was
Right.
the most vibrant place
Exactly.
for music and culture.
Yeah, it was a trendy
Right.
area. in
that
the city.
birthed Vice magazine,
Yep.
American Apparel,
Yeah.
Guru Energy Drink,
Yeah.
Audio Research,
Yeah.
Dave
Yeah.
One, Chrome
Wow,
became
Chromeo.
Chromeo.
A-Track and all
gonna
those
say
guys.
And it
A-Track.
goes on
Yeah,
and
yeah.
on and on. Shout out to A-Track. Shout out to
Allez, what up,
shout out
bro?
to- shout out to
Salut, mon
everybody
ami.
who was part of this vibrant scene that
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be.
Yeah, it was a crazy
13,
time in
14.
Well,
Montreal.
the thing is, you got to remember, you're younger, right?
Yeah.
So my brother was one of the few DJs. There's a couple other DJs out there that pretty much was responsible for educating and bringing out like hip hop tracks and playing it to like an audience that didn't know too much about hip hop.
Of course.
This was pre-Angel days. This is pre this is when there were no hip hop clubs. There were clubs that if you were lucky, the DJ would convince the owner and be like, listen, I got this.
I remember.
This is what I need to play.
Yeah.
And he was one of the few DJs that did manage to squeeze in hip hop sets within the disco
Status quo, what they
exactly.
wired them
Disco,
for.
house,
Saint
and all
Laurent
that
was
stuff.
basically
It's high end.
no, and it was mainly house music that guys were
Yeah.
playing.
Of course.
And I remember going to business, and the DJs would play in the middle of their set, Public Enemy,
Yeah.
or
See that?
Beastie Boys.
Out of
Or,
nowhere. You're just like, what is
for the
that?
culture-
And you know, it's funny because this is the first place I heard Soul to Soul, and then I would hear
Wow.
Prince, and I would hear jazz in the beginning. So the DJs were really
The tastemakers.
tastemakers,
Yeah.
and they were just knowledge. They had so much. They had crazy knowledge with music.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. I would discover, and I'm a DJ, and I'm discovering
Yeah.
music that I never
feel-
heard before.
I feel like the position of the DJ once upon a time was not just curator, but like educator.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like they were putting you on to shit.
Yeah.
Whereas now, unfortunately, I would say,
Well, it depends who you listen to.
obviously, but a lot of DJs, their goal is to cater to play familiar music.
Yeah, but
to
most
get a
like
desired
no
reaction.
disrespect to a lot of DJs out there, but a lot of them are not good.
Yeah.
In terms,
and between
but in terms
I
of
like that.
in terms of
They're not, though.
their technique or
Yeah.
their music selection.
Yeah, the art form definitely what became kind of like on the back seat where they just played tracks people want to hear and please the crowd and please the owner and please the promoters, make the money and play at all the cool
it's
spots.
almost like a trend, right? For
but
us,
all that bar mitzvah DJing doesn't push the culture forward.
they don't.
And that's why both of you guys.
They're actually behind.
yeah.
What
And-
about celebrity DJs? How do you guys feel about like a Pauly D or a Shaquille O'Neal or a Paris Hilton?
No, like Idris
Idris Elba.
Yeah, right.
you go.
So he's I mean, the music he plays is not my cup of tea, but I'm sure he
Does he have skill?
he has knowledge.
Okay.
Right. And the Ellen Show DJ Tony, a good friend of mine,
Yeah.
who happens to be a good friend
Oh,
of
he
mine.
came to Montreal.
Yes.
We did a thing at Macaroni.
Yeah. So
Yes.
he's a music lover. He might not be the best technical DJ in the world, but he plays amazing music.
That's
you
right.
know.
That's
Right.
right.
And for us, it was a calling. It wasn't like, it's not like we did it because we wanted to be cool or wanted to have a job to pay bills. It wasn't a job. It was just a calling.
Yeah.
And
It was in you.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm sure it still is, or
Yeah,
you
for
guys
sure.
wouldn't be continuing to do it for so long. And that's something we always talk about, that, at the end of the day, you do this because it lives in you, and you do it for your own satisfaction and to push the culture forward and to
Yep.
give back and to share.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, it's still exciting for us. Music,
Yeah.
we're still looking for that perfect beat. You know, that's
right.
what it is.
Forever
You know,
trying to make
Africa
that
Bambaataa.
Yep.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's exciting. It's still exciting for us. I mean, whenever I come across a dope track, I'm like, man, yeah, this is crazy. You know,
Yeah,
You guys are extremely blessed to be able to have something that you're still passionate about.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
After all
going to
these
go
years,
away. It's when
I mean,
people,
that's
you know,
special,
people
guys.
back in the day,
Yeah.
people used to ask me, how long are you going to keep DJing? I'm like, man, as long as I can carry my records. But now I don't even have to carry
Not even
records
have to
anymore.
carry
them.
So I'm going to go on for as long as I can. You know,
You're good.
He'll teleport himself to the tour dates, the
but
Jetsons.
It was funny because I remember earlier in the interview, Bless mentioned, "Oh, you guys must come from a music, like a family,
Musical family.
background, a family that has a lot of music in it." And actually, our dad was a DJ before us.
I totally believe it.
So,
Like the first ever DJ.
well,
he's
Flores,
OG.
Flores, yeah. So he used to do all these like Filipino
parties,
community
you know.
stuff, and he used to have like the sound system at home.
Well,
'Cause back
basically,
then-
because I used to help him out because I was
Yeah.
older than Tootie, right? So I'd be helping him out, set up the system, help him carry the stuff, you know, and then he would take me record shopping.
yeah,
And he would say, yeah, what do you think of this record? So he'd
Yeah.
be asking for my opinion because he needed sort of like a bridge for the younger kids that were going to those
Exactly,
parties, right?
that's
So he'd be saying, yeah, you
Yeah.
come with me and buy records. And then all of a sudden, just, you know, the system was there and I started teaching myself how to mix.
For those who don't understand, for all you sucker MCs and fake DJs, you actually had to spend thousands of dollars
yeah.
Yes.
on buying music to be able to play these gigs.
The crazy thing is I used to buy records at the mall. It wasn't even at a record store. We used to go
Discus.
at
You
the
were
mall.
13,
And
14,
how
99.
discus.
Discus. I see how I threw that out there.
A&A had it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It was it was crazy.
Yeah.
And how much money would
yeah.
it cost?
Man, we would like I would
Weekly,
spend
what were
I
you
would
spending?
spend
Yeah.
at least $200-300 on records
A week.
a week.
And this is back
Minimum.
in this
A
is
week.
back in like late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
You know, that's
one
when you're
night would
spending that
pay
money.
Big money.
One night would pay for the gig for
That's
the
what
record.
I was about to
Yeah.
say. You were like,
Man,
like
if you were only doing one night,
Man,
You
you,
were
were
like-
making money.
you're still broke.
you were like dealing to get your fix. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know,
But yeah,
but-
so I mean, we could definitely come from that background where, you know, because our dad was a DJ and we had all the equipment available to us. I remember at first he would tell us not to touch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't touch it because he thought we were gonna break it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, when we're listening to hip hop, we're watching like these music videos, Grandmaster Flash and like Melly Mel, and they're showing DJs like pulling back the record. We're like, oh, you can do that, not knowing that it could break the needle if you didn't do it properly.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
I'm sure you guys broke a lot of needles learning
guy
how to
did.
Broke
do it.
mixer, yeah, broke
He did.
mixers.
He did.
Oh man, you're done.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
the crazy? Because we grew up in Côte Neige, but we moved to the South Shore. Man, I used to go buy records, take the bus from the South Shore to buy records downtown on Victoria.
Where Mike's record?
No, it
Dutchies,
used to
Dutchies.
be no. It used to be.
You remember Mike's though?
Mike's, of course.
It used to be.
Mike's, that's
Yeah,
fine.
but
Was it?
before Mike's, it was called Romarks.
Oh, Romarks. Yeah,
And then there was
yeah.
another one.
So Mike's was
Wow.
a legendary
Oh, yeah.
little closet in a
Yeah.
strip mall in the hood on Victoria
by
behind-
Plamondon.
by
Yeah.
Plamondon Metro. And when I was a child, this is before I was even rapping, my earliest childhood memories, 6, 7, would be me hanging out on the stoop,
Yep.
sitting on a crate, and my pops used to talk with Mike, who's this
That's
OG,
great. Yeah.
OG Jamaican
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
God
yeah.
bless Mike, man,
The
and his
thick
whole
accent.
So
family.
Mike
Thick
used to have
accent.
Romark records, and I was buying
Wow.
records from him when he had
So my
Romark.
first Kangle that I ever had,
Was
I
from
got
there?
from Mike's Uptown. by you know, by the
Just a
KFC.
Kangle, bro.
My first NWA album was from Mike.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And this is
yeah,
when
yeah.
hip hop.
I think you know what? Not too many people give Mike credit for putting them
that's
on
a
the music.
neighborhood gem that
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
those from the neighborhood
Exactly.
knew
You
about.
had to know about it because you know what? A lot of people who bought records probably wouldn't even venture around there. They probably have their own version of who that or where they shopped was.
I'm a
you know?
West Island cat.
Yeah.
And I know that area well. I'm
Yeah.
a little bit younger, so I don't really, but King Cuts
Yeah.
is right around that. And I used to go and get like
course.
reggae and like slow
Yeah.
jam reggae,
Yeah.
CDs and stuff.
See that?
So we all used
Same
to get our
area.
haircut at King Cuts. That was a rite of
That
passage.
was what's his name? No, that was
true.
who was
Who was
that?
that?
Not
Gentlemen.
not tough.
This hairline, I used to go get haircuts and it would be like further back every time. I said, you know what? I'm shaving my head now.
Chop it off.
Gary T. That's who.
Gary
Oh,
T.
Gary.
Gary T was my
Wow.
first manager.
Yeah, Gary.
Wow,
Yeah.
Gary T was
T.
one of the first cats that were like
What's
encouraging.
up, Gary? If
I just bumped into Gary T. Shout out
No
Gary
way.
T.
You gotta get him on the podcast.
Yeah,
Gary
yeah.
T is an OG, man.
Oh,
I
he
met-
must have enough stories.
I met Gary T in the days when he used to do talent shows at Shad Academy and La Voix.
Wow.
And I was breakdancing in those talent shows as
That's
a
crazy.
7-year-old.
Okay,
kid.
let me ask you, what was your b-boy name? Everyone, when you were a b-boy, you had your name.
Shorty?
Shorty, for real?
El Chapo.
El Chapo.
No, but you see, you don't know. See, this is just.
But I've been
'cause-
blessed since I'm like 12.
Right. But as
Literally.
a b-boy, you had it obviously.
Shorty.
Yeah, because like back in the days, my brother was in like a crew, a b-boy crew, and like he used to like go to the roller rinks.
Yeah,
to
we
battle.
used to break dance at the roller skating
course.
rinks.
That's what
It's
I
crazy.
So,
You know
in the
who
middle.
I came
In the
up with?
middle.
I was down with Flow Rock.
Oh,
Dazzle.
okay.
Shout out Carlito the Kid. Shout out Walken from
Carlito.
MTL
Yeah,
Breakers.
yeah.
My man Fly. Everybody, man.
yeah.
Crazy.
These guys were guys who really influenced me. They were like OGs and they were B-boys, but they were real hip hop heads. And they
Yeah.
always were like encouraging me, like, yo, you're nice. You should rap. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So it went from being breakdancing to MCing being my call.
That's great, man. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it came up through the Gary T days and Gary
Wow.
T managing me. And I remember Gary T had promised me to try and get me to open for Coolio when Gangsters Paradise came out.
Yeah.
Like that was the hottest shit in the
Let me
world.
ask you. Let me stop you real quick. What did you think about that song?
I mean, at the time it was amazing.
Okay, but
back,
now looking back,
funny record. Yeah, right.
no, I just had that.
Great
The reason
sample.
why you
Great
mentioned
sample.
it. No, yeah, but
I was
the reason
never
why,
a fan, though.
The reason why
I
you
was never a
like
fan
when
of
you mentioned it, I had a conversation recently when I was doing a corporate event. And people were asking me for it, and I played it because it being a
hard to
corporate
play,
event.
though, yeah.
I played it, and I told the person who requested, I'm like, I never really liked this song. I mean, the sample, like you said, and the hook, amazing.
Yeah.
But the moment he started rapping, I'm
my
like, this guy is awful.
I can't live in it. I was raised by the
Right?
street. And like, yeah, Coolio was a special
I hate
character.
a rap voice.
Would you say that he's a one-hit wonder? Is there any other songs that he
Fantastic
had?
Voyage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
which
come on.
was on the same album,
Coolio's
which
definitely a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say
yeah.
yes.
which was kind of like on the same album, and another
It was around the same time.
but another huge funk sample. That you know what I mean?
Think
Like
Coolio was fortunate that he came out around that G-Funk
right,
rise,
gangster.
and
Yeah,
he
yeah,
wrote
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and he had that placement on the Dangerous Minds soundtrack.
Exactly.
and that was a
Huge.
big hit,
Right,
and that's
right.
what smashed it out of the way.
That was a good soundtrack.
But another cheesy
Great soundtrack.
record that I do love, and I'm sure there's so many house versions of it. Skilo. I wish it
I
was a
wish.
little
Oh,
bit-
right, okay. Yeah, I remember that track.
Can I give you mine? Hit 'em high, hit 'em high. I love
Hit 'em
that
high. Who did
soundtrack.
that one again?
Space Jam.
Yeah, but who did the track?
It was a posse cut.
Everybody.
It was a posse cut.
Oh yeah.
It was Be Real, Method Man.
It was a posse cut.
LL
Oh, wow.
Cool J might have been on the track.
Yeah, that was
Space Jam soundtrack. You know, Space Jam 2 is coming out with LeBron, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
gonna
I don't
be
know,
major.
but I don't know how that's gonna be. But
R. Kelly won't be on the soundtrack. this time.
oh, rest
not
in
gonna be
peace,
on
R.
any-
Kelly.
he's not gonna be on any
Oh,
soundtrack.
Did we say that already?
anytime
Rest
soon.
in
You
peace.
can rest in peace.
R.
You didn't die, man.
I don't even know if anybody could touch the R. Kelly subject. Like the
Terrible.
The guy's been accused of so many crazy things
Right.
over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that it took a documentary
17
years later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a sad story all around.
Yeah, because honestly, he's kind of messed up, but he's kind of a genius in terms of like,
and I think a lot of his
well, no, no, musically, man. The guy is like, he put out he has some classic tracks,
Oh, he
man.
has a whole lot.
No, he's talented.
that's a conversation that I've been seeing a lot. And listen, you can separate art
Yes.
from the human being, and
Mhm.
you could say this person is an incredible artist,
Mhm.
but a fucked up human being.
Right.
And that's just the honest truth. I mean,
Right.
who was it? Van Gogh who cut his ear and sent it in an envelope.
But it gets a lot
Did we
harder to
judge
listen.
Did we judge Van Gogh on Instagram?
Yeah.
He was a genius. He might have had some issues. He dropped the ear.
Exactly. You know?
It is what it is.
It's
But
hard to listen to though.
listen, we mean R. Kelly.
Like now, you can't listen to Bump and Grind and think the same thing.
Yeah,
you did
well, listen,
No,
I
no,
like
no.
Because his
No,
body
but-
was telling him
but
some
even
weird
now,
shit.
like I try to like not play any more R. Kelly records.
It's
Really?
a weird
Yeah,
time.
so the time, and you know what? We are more as a society socially aware, socially conscious,
Mhm.
and sensitive to a lot of these
Right.
things that
Right.
used to be brushed under the rug.
100%.
Yeah, for
You know what
sure.
I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff, obviously, like, we don't want to get like political here and all this other stuff.
You can
know,
if you want.
No, but I mean, I'd rather not. But I mean, honestly, people would ask me when all this stuff was happening with R. Kelly, they're like, yo, are you going to still play his tracks? I'm like, man, it's good music. Honestly, like Step in the Name of Love, Happy People, like those are two of my tracks that I would play because it made me happy to play them, regardless of whether it got a reaction from the crowd, but it would get a reaction from the crowd.
I don't think it's open for debate that R. Kelly has issues.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's been like that probably his whole career. But
Yeah,
that
definitely.
being said, on an artistic side, just purely artistic,
Mm-hmm.
because everything he's done, if it's true, is deplorable.
Right.
But on an strictly artistic conversation, the man is a musical genius.
Yeah, indeed.
And he wrote and produced his own shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
So should crazy shit been tolerated because he's a genius? No.
Mhm.
But
I think he got away with a lot of stuff
Yeah.
because
of that.
and also, people didn't have
a
a
lot-
voice and a platform to say their piece. So a lot of victims were
Yeah, but it's not like
silenced.
we just started social media recently. It's been around for a while. So
Yeah.
he's had a past for a long time because of who he is.
Very true.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
It's
I
a
agree
sticky
with that.
situation, gentlemen.
Yeah.
It's a sticky situation, and everybody. I mean, it's hard to say everybody's innocent until proven guilty because he was pretty much roasted in the court of public opinion. But however it plays out is going to play out. But I don't think people should be shamed into not sharing art because you don't like the character.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, because if you did that, then there would be a ton of people that you wouldn't be able to promote their music or even play some of their stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like R. Kelly's the only guy or only person that's done bad things.
I mean,
You know,
Well,
according,
it's just like not eating Jello because of Bill Cosby.
I think you have to wait.
Boycott Jello.
Boycott
Gentlemen,
Jello.
I honestly think there's like a grace period
Yeah,
that we have to
Right.
wait.
I think so too.
Before, because
Yeah.
right now we're on like the hot seat.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even be
I
going
think
this
it's
deep with it.
okay. Hold on.
True.
Let me just say something. And it's
True.
very serious. I think it's okay to eat Jello as long as Bill Cosby didn't serve it to you.
Yeah, you don't know what that guy's putting in there, man.
As long as you
Yeah,
made
you're
the
right.
Jello,
Yeah.
you're straight.
Yeah.
Not
or have him try it first.
if Bill sends it.
Yeah.
It's like you guys know the reason that in every bar and every club that people say, "Look me in the eyes when you cheers me." It's rude if you don't. You know where that came from?
No.
No.
In the day, you didn't know. You never
No.
heard this.
Never heard that
So
either.
Well,
every-
the cheers part I know.
But
Looking
that I
in the
know.
eyes.
Yeah, right.
So looking in the eyes came from in the days of kings and queens and all that. A popular way to assassinate a king was to poison him.
them, yeah.
Right.
So they had those goblets, those steel cups.
Yeah.
So they'd smash glasses hard so the poison would fall in both.
Yeah, that I knew.
And then
Right.
they would look in each other's eyes, and if the king's seen you flinch, it's an assassination attempt.
Wow.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
hard.
See, that's
That I
yeah,
knew.
right?
Yeah, that's hard. Good
That's
job.
dope, right?
Yo,
No,
that
now-
needs to be in some bars somewhere.
Now people do it like, look at me in the eye and take your drink because I want to make sure you're not spitting it out and not making me waste my money.
Or the old traditional just poison you like Bill Cosby. But moving away from R. Kelly and
Thank God.
and Bill,
Yep.
thank God. Let's go back to a very important piece of hip hop culture on the fashion side of things. You
Mhm.
bringing a sneaker boutique that had a very important place in the culture to Montreal.
Mhm.
I would credit you with being one of the first sneakerheads like myself to actually commercially bring it to Montreal, to actually,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, to bring it to the masses. Talk a
Yeah.
little bit about
So
that.
back in the days, I was fortunate enough to link up with the guys from Goodfoot. They opened up their Montreal chapter, and I remember them setting up, and they brought a guy from Toronto, Ace.
I remember.
What's up, Ace? Give a shout out to you. He'll probably, if I tell him check the podcast out, he'll probably will. But yeah, so he was out here. He opened shop, managed it, and everyone was telling him he was wondering who should I get to hire, who should I hire to work, and he kept hearing my name from all these different people, right? And so it just happened. We linked up at Elena, which is a skate shop that was on Sherbrooke Street. My friend Jeremy Bresnan opened up that spot, and it was way ahead of his time. This is wow. This is like he opened up where no other spots were there. Really, there were just like restaurants, mom and pop stuff. And I ran into Ace there, and he's like, "Hey man, finally good to meet you. I'm from Toronto. We opened up the shop Goodfoot. I'm like, yeah, I know Goodfoot. I go when I'm in Toronto. I shop there all the time, right? So he's like, yeah, man, I want you to hop on, So he brought me on board, and it was a good time, man, because sneakers were getting quite popular. I mean, a lot of people that I knew were always into sneakers because when you buy sneakers, you use them for what they were. Like if you play basketball, you wore basketball shoes. If you were a jogger, if you ran, you'd wear Air Maxes or whatnot. So, my experience there, I was able to help, the sneaker movement up here in Montreal, because I mean, before that, there wasn't really much unless you're shopping at like Foot Locker and Monts Athlètes and Murray's. Remember Murray's though?
Yeah. The selection was generally weak, and like you guys had basically, for those who weren't around then, like it was kind of looked like an old school barber shop, tiled floors,
exactly,
and they had like a real minimal boutique concept.
Yeah,
and let me tell you, they had some fire up in there. You guys had some fire.
Yeah, definitely. We're lucky enough because of Goodfoot had built their name, and they opened up a couple other locations in Canada, and we're lucky enough to get them here in Montreal. And because they had built a network with the guys in New York, Chicago, and even in Japan, LA. So they knew all those cats, right?
And it was definitely rare to be able to have a selection of really like fire shit. Like they had a lot of Air Max 95s, 97s, the snakeskin shell toes. I bought them all from this Japan only releases. I think that's the first time we formally met. Like I had heard your name, but I think I was like, yo, I know your brother.
I remember.
And of course, I wanted that celebrity discount.
I remember Bless used to roll up, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he always had, a way of talking and like making you feel like you've known him before, you've met him before. Like he has that like warm kind of like gift the gab kind of thing where he's like talking to you, and you're like, man, I know this guy from somewhere.
Yeah, he's definitely approachable.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, yeah, cool. And he's like, it dropped my brother's name. And then he used to say like, yeah, I know these cats. I know those guys. I'm like, yeah, I know those too. Yeah,
but it's true when he says that. It's not like...
No, it is true. I know.
It's not like knew your brother for...
It's not like he's fronting.
10 years before.
This is the thing, because I would know whether he would kind of like knew these people or not. And I remember you rolling in there and be like, all right, I'm going to pick these up, man. But you know what?
You gotta bless me.
You got to hook me up, because I don't pay retail, man. I don't.
Still to this day.
Yeah, I know. And then he would tell me, I go to the spot here in New York, this, that, whatever. I'm like, listen, man, you buy 2, 3, 4 pairs, no problem. I'll break you off. I'll make it happen. And so I remember him coming in, and one thing that really, really stuck out to me was when he first asked me for that discount. And I was like, at first I was kind of resistant. I was like, man, I can't have any guy just roll up in here, any schmuck. I go, any schmuck roll up in here and ask for a discount. And then he goes to me, well, dude, I'm Jewish, right? He's like, I am kind of a schmuck, right?
I'm the only schmuck.
Yeah,
I think I said something. I said, oh, that's cool. I'm the only schmuck you need to...
Exactly. And I was just like, oh, damn, okay.
That's funny.
You're getting a discount. And then from then on, the guy would roll in at least every week or so and grab like fire. And I was like, man, I could see, because I used to see all the cats that used to roll in there, and I would know
buying what.
Yeah, and I would know who was getting what. I'm like,
imagine if you didn't wear those shoes.
No, he still has a lot. He still has them. Yeah.
I still have some. I'm going to need his help.
Exactly.
Again.
But I mean, I used to see it, man. I'm like, man, this kid's building up a pretty good collection of sneakers and stuff. And what I appreciated was he would pick up stuff that wasn't just hype. Like people would come and want only that
new
shoe.
Release or whatever.
Yeah. Or oh, do you have these shoes, that shoes? And we would sell it out. But he would be like, no, I want this. I want that snake enjoy. I want this pro model. I want this Air Max 95.
One of my favorite shoes that I got from you back in the day, and I still have them somewhere.
I think I know what it is.
Tell me your
guess.
Go ahead.
Air Max 97? Kashima.
Fuck. No.
Right.
He's a wizard to this day.
I'm telling you, bro.
Mind you, I bought these shoes in 2004, bro.
Yo, this was not rehearsed. This is the first time he's bringing this up to me, and I remember.
Crazy.
But did I not tell you I knew what people were picking up? Because I knew you picked. I remember.
That's a moment.
Because that was one of the first times, and you picked that one up, And again, there was no reason why that shoe was still on the shelf. 100 people passed over that shoe, and that's when you picked it up. And I was like, okay. So I remember, I was like, this, yeah, exactly.
You know what that shoe's worth on eBay now?
It's big money.
Like between maybe $800 and $1,200. I saw them or whatever.
Yeah, it's big money. You know why? One of the reasons why is because, first of all, it's a limited shoe, but it was one of the first non-Air Jordan to have the cement print on it. Because cement, not nowadays. Nowadays, right? Jordan brand wants to make money. Nothing's sacred anymore. But back in the days, there was no way in hell anyone was getting any type of Jordan, a characteristic from a Jordan shoe, whether it be the look, the colorway, the fabrics, or the print. And that was one of the few shoes
that had the cement print
that was allowed to have it. Yeah, because everything was sacred.
So for those of you who don't know the shoe, you could check it out. It was like black with like a money green, almost like a Gucci colorway with the cement suede print all around. Air Max 97. Forget it.
Are you wearing them or?
Am I wearing them? I'm wearing socks right now.
No, I'm thinking general.
Have you worn general?
No, hell no, I hoarded those.
Okay.
And there was another Air Max 97 I got from you. Black and lime green Japan only.
Neon 97. That's what they're known as. Yeah, that's a hot shoe. And you know what? A lot of the stuff that was really cool and what was great about Goodfoot was they were able to get the Japanese releases. They were able to get the regional only releases, European releases.
That was amazing.
And
why is that?
So that's the thing, man. The guys behind Goodfoot, I won't mention who they are, but I mean, they built a network before. This was like right when, obviously, you weren't buying shoes on the internet.
No.
You know, you were
First of all, because you didn't know if they were fake.
Exactly.
You needed to try them. People were really weary of ordering shoes online.
So the way they would do it is they would hook up with stores in Japan, New York, Chicago, and different countries, whatever, where certain shoes were released in that region. They would take something they knew they had, make sure they ordered enough of it,
and swap.
Take a portion of it, send it over, and switch over, and vice versa.
Very smart.
Right. And so I remember one time, a quick story just to show you the pull that these guys had. They brought in, I believe it was either Saucony or New Balance. I want to say New Balance. And it was a Japanese only release. A rep from New Balance came and said, why do you have this? You shouldn't have this here. These are not, this is from another region. What does he do? He buys them all, retail, buys them all, just to get them off the shelf. And so Ace and I are like, cool, dude. Like, you just made us money.
Yeah, why not?
To pull them off the shelf.
You're welcome to
not
do
have
it.
Exactly. So we're like, yo, we did good. We sold out, right?
Yeah.
And then the guy tried to like make a big stink about it and be like, no, you can't have a New Balance account. I'm going to take away your New Balance account, which never ended up happening because he didn't realize that
it was good for the culture.
Well, yeah, but his boss on top of him said, yo, what are you doing? Goodfoot is like one of the boutiques. They're the influencer boutique. They're like the tier 0 top of the,
It's going to diminish the value of the brand.
Right. You want, if they brands want to be in this store.
That's what I'm saying.
You're pulling our product out. Like brands want to be in it.
Some people didn't get it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people didn't get it.
Clueless.
So speaking of brands, I know both of you guys have been longtime supporters of Supreme.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that and how you guys.
Well, my brother's more into Supreme than I am. I just.
I always saw you with the Y3.
I was, yeah.
You used to influence. I would see you play in Y3, and I'd be like, "Damn, I gotta get my Y3."
I still wear
Y3. Nervous. Like, damn, why is y'all in Y3? I gotta be.
I still wear Y3, and I love.
still wear Y3
I actually love Japanese designers like Yoji.
You can't go wrong with Y3 because it's always triple black.
No, but we also have to be comfortable with what we're wearing, right? So we're always in sneakers. We're T-shirts, jeans, comfortable. Like,
but you guys were definitely like ahead of the curve when it came to like streetwear. Yeah, that's something I always noticed because I was into it.
Right.
I don't know if a lot of people gave you credit for it, but I would always see you guys rocking the shit that, just for those who knew.
Well, the thing is, I have a fashion background because I used to manage a high-end clothing store.
Tell us about that,
So,
please.
yeah, it was called Il Nyakade on Crescent Street, and it used to be like a high-end clothing store, very Japanese inspired. the owner was a big fan of Yohji Yamamoto, Matsuda.
Is that prior
Comme des Garçons?
To them linking up with Adidas?
Yeah. This was way before. Yeah, this was way before, and and I was just really back then. It was just music and fashion for me.
Of course,
and
still is.
Yeah, still is pretty much.
Still is.
Yeah.
And through my travels, I always go to the record stores or the boutiques.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do. Record stores and boutiques.
Well,
so, like our good friend is partners at Livestock. We knew the guys at Nomad in Toronto. Like even I know the guy that owns Haven in Vancouver, which started in Edmonton.
Shout out Martini at Dip. That's
Whoa,
you guys know
Martini.
Yeah. That's like my big brother, man. I've been chilling with him for 20 years.
So he must have a crazy sneaker collection still. I remember.
He has a I used to shout out Martini, by the way. That's my brother. He used to come pick me up from the airport when I come to Vancouver. We go kick it at his crib. And I remember he had like 3,000 pairs.
Yeah.
15 years ago, 17 years ago.
That's crazy.
I remember hearing about that.
His closet, he had recreated the stock room at his store as a closet. And he was just taking one of whatever he needed for so long. And we actually just celebrated his... I don't want to blow him up. A very monumental birthday.
Okay, cool.
Here in Montreal.
No way.
Yeah, I took him out.
Wow, man.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing.
You didn't bring him by one of the spots I was playing?
I think
because normally you do.
I
you
think
roll
I
through.
brought him by Fly Gin that night.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was.
Yeah. We don't play at Fly Gin. What are you doing?
I know that
kidding,
you don't.
I'm kidding.
But it was a night that he doesn't do.
Right.
What was the night at Fly Gin during the week though?
It's probably Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday. Where are you on Wednesday?
Wednesday, I'm off.
There you go. They're right.
You didn't catch me slipping.
Yeah.
So there was definitely you, Martini, a couple cats.
Yeah, there was a couple of cats. There's this other guy out of Vancouver, Ryan, I think Santos. He's a big sneaker guy too. But I mean, just to get back to what my brother was saying about traveling, I think that's what allowed us to
discover a lot of things.
A lot of brands.
The way he discovered Supreme, he was in New York.
Yeah.
I discovered Supreme when I was in Toronto at Nomad. The guy's like, you want this bomber? It's dope. It's by Supreme. I'm like, oh yeah, it looks nice. All right.
Yeah, and my brother has it. It's great when you get those rare pieces before it blows up.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it that much more special. Like I feel like now anybody with a credit card can overpay for something and order it on eBay just to say they have it.
Or they don't even have to go to that city to buy it. They just order it online.
But that's not the win.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I always said I need that love, that discount, because you want to feel like you got something, first of all, that nobody has. And second of all, who likes to wait at the back of the line in the cold and then catch a slap and pay retail? You know, okay, if I'm allowed in the club, like here's $100 to the bouncer. You know what I mean? And let me pay double for the bottle. Everybody likes to feel like they had a hookup.
No, plus it's not like you paid your dues, but you should be the person that they should honor,
as much as I appreciate that, I just knew outside of the hip hop shit that I would be the loyalist customer.
Yeah,
no, that's what I mean.
That's fair.
No, but that's what I mean. One of the things you did say to me was like, "Yo, I'll be here every other week doing the same thing."
100%.
And that was the first time that we had that interaction. And then I was like, and then true to his word, he was there. If he weren't traveling, if he wasn't traveling, because I know that he was traveling quite a bit back then.
Yeah.
And he would roll in. And then I remember even coming in, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he would roll in the shop with some fly stuff that he just picked up from some other city and be like, I think he used to be like, yo, I'm going to Goodfoot. I'm going to go see Tootie. I got to fucking put on something I know he does.
We something extra tough just to show off.
Because we did it just to show off to each other. Like people thought we were crazy wearing these brands. Most people in Montreal didn't know what the fuck Y3 was.
No.
And you were kind of wearing it for your peers to be like, because it wasn't about how much you paid for shit. It's how did you find it.
And also how you wore it, how you put it together.
Still is.
Because that's from like the B-boy days back in the days, right? Where you would want to have the flyest stuff.
Of course.
Yeah.
Still do those moves on you would still like rip up the cardboard and you would show up to the battle with the freshest like newest looking
Yes, it's
pair of
true,
shoes
it's
on
true.
and
They-
tracksuit.
It was really for those who know. It was more for, you know what I mean?
But that b-boy culture,
That's where it started for
influenced
you. Exactly.
how
competitive nature.
how we sort of like
Makes sense.
are into streetwear or
Yeah.
just clothing. You know, it's
Oh,
just,
1,000.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, you know, back in the day, we would want the Pumas,
Yes.
the Clydes. We
Clydes,
would want
yeah.
Clydes.
we would want the Lee jeans. We would want the shell toes.
course.
We want the
Yeah.
Cazals. You
course.
wanted the Kangos.
To this
'Cause
day-
b-boys had a certain look, and that's what you wanted. Man, do you remember when
That still shapes the
when
culture.
Beat
Yeah.
Street came out? Of
course.
guys were wearing the goggles
On
ski
the
goggles,
sleeve.
on the sleeves,
Yeah.
right?
So and then Method Man brought the goggles back way later.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you think about it, b-boy culture still is heavily influencing
yeah.
streetwear.
For sure.
Think about it. Slim tapered
Yep.
a Puma or Adidas suit
Yep.
with the fucking suede joints,
and the
Yeah.
pleat in the front.
with the
yeah.
shearling coat,
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
Cazals.
yeah.
That's a hot outfit. That's a hard outfit right
Yeah.
now.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a hard outfit
That never
right
goes
now.
out of
No, but
style.
just the
don't know,
mentality.
never.
But just the mentality is influenced from the whole b-boy.
Also, the competitive nature of
Yeah.
hip hop.
Yeah, because think about it, right? You're showing up to the battle, right? Before you guys even anybody did anything, you're showing up each other.
Of course.
And you're looking at each other and be like, man, that guy has a dope pair of shoes.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And they're so
size
crisp.
And a lot of the time,
Yeah.
that's how you would bond with people or know if they were a like-minded hip hop head.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a cool cat. I want to
Right.
build with him. I want to
Yeah.
work with him or whatever. And, you know, the competitive nature of B-boy battling, MC battling, outdressing each
Yeah.
other and all that made the culture not just obviously competitive, but vibrant and fun.
Yeah, for
You know?
sure.
And that's something that one thing I hate when I see is I see these young kids on social media. Have you ever seen these silly videos where they're like, I paid $1,200
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
Gucci shit. And
Terrible.
you know what? That is that's the opposite.
Yeah.
Counterproductive.
It was
Yeah,
never
yeah.
about how
Never.
much you paid for
Yeah,
it
no.
because we didn't have it. In fact, if
No.
it was expensive, you had to go rob it.
I like
Yeah.
the
Yep.
blessed way of doing things, and you said it before.
Yeah.
Was you come in and you're humble, you
Yeah.
come in, you're approachable, but don't treat me like everyone
Yeah,
else.
exactly.
Well, because the thing was, is it you know, hip hop gave a lot of kids a voice and a sense of self-worth and pride.
True.
And that's what would translate into the music, and the fashion was the expression
Right.
to say, hey,
Well said.
I'm here. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I want to
Yeah.
contribute something to the culture. I want to DJ. I want to have a boutique. I want to do nights. I want to
Yeah.
open up
Can't just
restaurants.
look like the culture. You got to actually do something in it.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
for
saying?
sure.
Add something, contribute to it.
Yeah, I think contributing is so important, or else it doesn't flourish. It doesn't grow. You know.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
it just
and
becomes
And I
stagnant.
found it sad to see these kids bragging about what they paid,
Right.
not saying, yo, I found this on a dig.
Yeah.
And yo, I pulled out this rare piece, or
Yeah.
yo, I paid almost nothing for it. Look how I
Yeah.
put that together.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, back in the day, it was about like, you know, we were trying to get that by any means.
Yeah, but
Like
Yeah.
the
It's
whole,
true.
you know what I'm saying?
They were handing them out
Yeah.
sometimes.
And we
You
had
gotta-
to do
Yeah.
some really hard shit to be able to acquire it sometimes.
Yep.
And then you had to do some really hard shit to be able to keep it sometimes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
look,
'cause
you
just,
you
could
would-
just take the
yeah.
Metro with a Raiders jacket
no, but
and
let's
feel
look,
us.
look for us as DJs to get the 1,200. You know what we had to sacrifice to get 1,200?
Please tell me what, like your first 1200s.
Man,
Please. I want that story.
wow.
Every DJ has a unique story
Right?
about
Well, I
doing
started
something.
on 1800s.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I couldn't wait to get off of them because everybody was on 1200s.
That was kind of like the industry standard.
And
kind
what,
of
the
thing.
Vestax mixer?
No, even back,
Back
then.
then,
that
it
was
wasn't
before
even
that was
Vestax. It
before
was like
Vestax, man.
Pyramid, Newmark. It
Yeah.
was like all the
Newmark.
all the
Newmark.
shitty.
Newmark.
Yeah, it was all the shitty brands.
Newmark, yeah.
no
Newmark
one-
was very hip hop.
But no one
I had a Newmark.
no one
No
was
reason.
making high end mixers back then for turntablists.
That's crazy.
Like
You
a
know?
lot of those mixers didn't have a crossfader.
But house DJs had like really good mixers, like
Yeah.
because sonically they wanted great sound, and that's where it starts. It's from the mixer, right? Because if you're feeding the system with shit sound, you're gonna get shit sound whether you have the
Regardless,
most amazing. If you have B&W speakers, but if you're where it originates from is garbage, you're gonna get garbage out of it.
You know what? I think I could actually almost pinpoint when my brother did get a 1200 or his first turntable that's a 1200.
All right.
I like to say it wasn't even brand new.
Yeah, it wasn't
probably,
brand new.
It probably came from a club that either closed down
Or owed me money.
owed him money, and they didn't pay him, so he jacked. He went in there with a crew of people that didn't get paid and jacked him.
Every
I'm
DJ
telling you,
we've
yeah.
had on has the same story
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
they taxed their
Yep.
turntables and mixers.
No, and
Every DJ, I swear.
and chances are he probably took all the records because back then,
the clubs used to buy the records.
The clubs used to have a budget for the DJs to go and buy the records, but the records would stay in the club locked up,
stamped. They would have the stamp of the club
and locked
the,
up.
the name of the club. They would have it on the record.
I remember.
And so the DJ would just show up and with he would have his own stash,
but he
would have like a catalog behind them of anything he wanted to play.
That was dope.
Crazy, and it was all categorized.
Yeah, but I mean, I think. See, I want to say that's probably how he ended up getting his furniture because you know why 1200s were expensive, man.
Yeah, they were expensive, and they still are.
They still are,
man.
With inflation,
but check this out. I just recently got the turntables that I've wanted for the longest time, maybe like 2-3 months ago.
Wow.
And it was the Techniques 1200 Mark
Children,
5.
pay attention.
Mark 5G.
Pay attention, children.
Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine, I've been doing this for over 30 years and I just got the turntables that I've wanted just a few months ago.
And you know, it sounds silly, but I know what a milestone that is.
Yeah,
you know,
it's crazy.
When I mean, you probably could have afforded it a long time ago, but when it finally comes to fruition,
no, he could have totally afforded it before.
Yeah, it was just.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you know exactly. What I was sitting on. You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
I was sitting on like 1200s. I had 12 of them. And
was it because they were rare? Were they really rare? The other
they're
ones?
pretty rare. These ones are pretty rare.
He started to collecting them actually.
Yeah, so I had 12.
Because don't forget, Techniques at one point stopped producing them. So then he, had the foresight of saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna grab a bunch of them.
Yeah, sure.
And
fix them. I would fix them, modify them, and then flip them.
Right?
That's dope.
And then I just saw these
money.
I saw a pair that I wanted, and I was like, man, I'm gonna sell these pairs and buy those.
And look, he ended up grabbing them.
So it's funny.
You know, there was a gem of a good friend.
But Toddy benefits because he has the ones that I had.
Yeah, so I grabbed a pair from him the other day too.
It's funny.
Yeah,
nice. So you're keeping it in the family. A friend.
Well, listen, I enjoy playing on turntables more than I do CD players.
Of course.
So
it's just that feeling.
Well, you know what? You got to be technically a really good DJ to play on turntables, on vinyl. You have to be because it's not digital. Turntables are not accurate 100%.
Believe it or not, a lot of DJs now, the new DJs that play on computers or like digital files, they use their eyes to mix.
They're reading waveforms. So
the wave, exactly.
That's why you'll see.
So they're just watching to see if the waves match.
So for those,
there's all these software.
Yeah. So for those of you out there that go to a club and watch how a DJ is playing their music, watch what they're doing with their eyes. It's very rare they'll be looking at you, at the crowd. If they do, it's going to just be for a split second because at that point they've locked their wave. They're reading the waves. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, some of them use sync. But I mean, a lot of people, say, well, I'm DJing for X amount of time. Why do I got to continue to make it harder for myself? But that's part of the art form, man.
That's like me saying, how come I have to continue to rap well?
Yeah, right.
Why do I have to continue to write good verses?
Yeah, because
I've been rapping forever. I proved to you guys I could
exactly.
spit.
What do I just spit for?
Yeah,
I
don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
You know what? Shout out to Tony Touch because
Tony Toka.
That's why Tone is and always will be one of my favorite party rocker DJs because he's all feeling.
Yeah.
Whether he's playing house or hip hop, it's all feeling. And I love how he plays what he wants to play.
Right.
Never typical shit.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I always appreciated that. And I always would have a fantastic time when I'd see Tony Touch play.
Right. But I think one of the things that he's able to do that, obviously, is because he is Tony Touch. Like, people expect that from him.
Yeah.
The moment you start to become predictable and start to play what people want to hear, I mean, you know what?
But Tony's he's a DJ.
Yes.
He's not a producer.
Yeah.
He's not a musician. He's a DJ. He's a DJ.
Yeah. But it's all feeling, and it comes out whenever he plays.
Gentlemen, I have a question. I happened to be out this weekend, which is a rarity, and there was a little girl who she wanted my friend who was the DJ to play whatever she wanted.
Right.
And she was trying to explain to me, like, she's got a group of her girls and one of them is her birthday. I told her, I said, like, in a very positive way, I said, we don't go to your job. and tell you what to do.
Yeah.
You can't tell this guy what to do. Like he's here because this is what he does for a living.
Yeah.
How do you say that nicely? Because she was offended, and I pictured her swinging on me. You know what I mean? Like, how do you tell someone nicely that just doesn't get it that this is someone who's their
at that
craft,
point
their
you
art?
just have to be rude and be straight up and say, listen, man, you gotta go.
Is there a nicer way?
You gotta go.
No, you know what?
I've had people kicked out of the club because they just
Won't stop
they
harassing.
they
They don't get it.
they don't get it, man. Like
It's probably the worst part of the gig, right?
No, but I have to sometimes even not like if they ask for a song, fine. But it's the way they asked. They're not even polite about it.
Yeah.
As if you're working for them.
And then I have to say, well, listen, man.
Yeah.
Do you just walk up to people and demand stuff? You don't ask politely? Like what kind of upbringing? You know?
Well, there's
And they
also a
get
lot
offended.
of alcohol in the mix.
But some of them, some of them are like, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I'm totally sorry.
Good.
Can you please play the song? I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of like a deep house set, and they're like, "Could you play Drake back to back to back?" And you're like, "I think Drake gets enough airtime. I'm just gonna go ahead and play some of this March."
No, but you know what? Honestly, if you're gonna go up to a DJ and request a song, if you do it in a nice way, in a respectful manner, there might be a good chance they'll play it. But if you go there and come up and ask in a way where you're like, I'm the client. I'm here. I'm spending money. I bought this. I bought this table out. You know, I'm balling. You got to play my song. It's my birthday. This and that. I'm sorry.
No.
You know what? You're not getting it. That just makes it worse. Just, you know, be respectful. Come up and ask. And if it works and they can play it, fine. You know what? $50, $100 doesn't hurt either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
If you really want it, money talks.
So, you know.
And if they're really balling, I've had very good friends that when they want to hear that DMX or that Mobb Deep, and it's got to be now, it's a crispy hundo.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
100.
exactly.
It's like, yo,
Exactly.
and my boys would send me, they'd be like, yo, Bless, I know you know the DJ because you know every DJ. That's your man. We want to hear DMX or Mobb Deep now, or we're breaking everything.
Yeah.
But here's a couple $100.
Yeah, yeah,
Give
yeah.
it to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I DJ'd for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And there was this one younger black dude that would come in there with a mouthful of gold teeth, and he'd ask for Gucci Mane every single time. And this is like 10 years ago, right? Like when Gucci was like what was it? Yellow Lambo Gucci, like beginning, right? And I want to listen to Big L. I want to listen to like you know, Nas. Like that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And this kid, every time he'd be there without fail, and he'd want Gucci Mane. And after like the third, fourth time, you know what? Put on Gucci Mane. And I started to develop a taste for it to the point where like at this point in my life, I want to listen to ignorant bad rap music. Like I'm cool with it. And thank you to that dude with the gold teeth, because
That's funny.
Well, he put you on. He put you on.
So I think the only thing worse than a rude customer who's not tipping and demanding is a guy who wants to talk about sneaker culture and Big L while the DJ's trying to mix. Is that the only thing worse?
No, that's enjoyable, man.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
especially if it's Bless, right?
Yeah.
When I'm drunk, I'm like, yo, Toddy, they don't understand.
Yeah. Honestly, some of the best conversations I've had with Bless have been in a DJ booth while I'm mixing. The crowd, it's like the place is jamming, and we're just talking about whether it usually starts off with sneakers, then it gets into like,
yo, what do you think of these? Yo,
Then it would go into watches.
Yeah.
Then he would show me his latest piece, like his chain, school me on like, you know, that
jewelry shit.
Yeah. And then it would just get into, I would be like, you know what? This conversation, I like where it's going. And I would start dropping some 90s hip hop. And that's when Bless would just be like, okay, here we go.
Okay, this shit's getting real.
And then
I go get more drinks, bring it back to him.
Right.
Now I'm really getting drunk. And I'm really feeling what he's playing.
Right.
And I've abandoned the party and I'm living in the booth with him.
Yeah.
And then one of the last times this happened, I don't know if you remember, this girl peers over the booth. It's kind of like over the DJ booth, and she knew both of us. She's like, Bless, like, let him play. And we're like, shut the fuck up. We're in a good conversation.
No, but what was funny is that you would, when I would go into that little like 90s hip hop set, you could look around the club and see, all right, those people know what's up. Because, you know, it's not something you hear often. Yeah. As much as I love playing it, it's a lot of people want to hear the new stuff. What kind of records are we talking about when we ask Tootie's hip hop nostalgia, just for the people who?
Wow.
So, I mean, I've been listening to hip hop for a long time. So, obviously, we all know, to most of us, you know, the hip hop, like the golden era of hip hop was like the 90s, right?
Of course.
But I mean, a lot of that stuff, it's sad because a lot of it doesn't get played as much as I think it should. But at the same time, it's because a lot of places, a lot of DJs, either they don't know it, they don't appreciate it, or they're afraid to play it because, you know, they'll get
comes with a negative.
People want to hear a lot of the new stuff, which is fine. I don't mind playing the new stuff either.
So what do you like to sneak in when you're doing, you know, the typical hip hop set? You're playing the Travis Scott, the bangers,
Good
the obvious.
question.
Where do you how do you like to?
What are some of your sneaky tracks, like your
know what?
Soundboy
you
burials?
You put the pill in the applesauce. No Bill Cosby. Pause.
You know what? I was a huge fan of Mobb Deep, so I know you mentioned that.
Deep cuts or like hits are you playing? I want to know like a couple of like the sneaky ones that.
No,
He's
but
playing
I would,
the infamous
I would-
album. He's
Yeah,
playing,
I would, you know, but I would start off with like Shook Ones, but then I would play like Hell on Earth, or I play some other stuff that doesn't get played as much. But I mean, obviously, I don't want to alienate too many people in the club, right? Because people are still, you know, I still gotta make sure people are spending, having a good time. And then I would like probably jump into some Nas from like Illmatic, throw in, of course, some Gangstar because, you know,
Some Tribe,
gotta play
no?
some Gangstar. Yeah,
Shout
Tribe.
out-
Yeah,
shout out
Tribe for
Tribe.
sure. But I mean, if I wanted to, I could go like into like some older hip. Like I was a big fan of Third Bass, right? See, I could have
the
easily,
Search?
yeah, exactly. I could play that stuff. Or
Pete Nice, no?
MC
yeah,
Search
Prime Minister
and
Pete Nice. Yeah. I mean,
Prime Minister Pete Nice.
Prime Minister Pete
Yeah.
Nice.
Shouting out the Canadians.
exactly. You know, so. I mean, a lot of the stuff, like you mentioned, Soundboy Burial, like
That was just the first one that came. to
yeah,
mind.
but like you know, Black Moon, Smith and
Camplo,
Wesson,
Lucchini.
yeah, of course. So a lot of that
Far
stuff,
Side.
but you can't do it for too long, just because a lot of people be like, "What is this stuff?" You know, and then you start to get those looks, and
Fine.
you know, I don't want
Well,
to
I
be like,
think also the problem we have now, and the problem we didn't have really back in the day, is that most clubs have terrible sound systems.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say we're getting older, but yes, that
yeah,
too.
so you end up not being able to play stuff that definitely needs a good sound system.
Very interesting.
right?
I love that JoJo touched on that because what is from, and you guys are probably some of the best people to speak on this. What is your opinion on, you know, we always talk about the quality of obvious, you know, lyrical content going
Right.
downhill in hip hop, but what about the sonic degeneration of
Yeah.
music?
Yeah.
Where they used to spend hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million, on recording, mixing, and mastering albums in these huge studios with all these
Yeah, yeah.
huge soundboards,
Yeah,
with, you know, all this equipment. Where now everybody's making music in their room.
right.
They're sending
Distorted
it.
music
They're
in their
sending
room.
it.
Yeah.
They're sending it for a quick mastering. Which, by the way, I was going to bring up.
Okay.
They don't even master your music by ear.
No.
They just look
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
wave and make sure it doesn't peak and
Right.
and auto correct your music
Right,
basically.
It's a plugin.
And then now I feel like a lot of younger kids, because they grew up on, you know, earbuds and iPod and all of that stuff, they don't even know what it's supposed to sound like because everybody's listening to music through a tin can.
Yeah.
And also like, you know, when they play it from their phones or YouTube or
Hurts my
whatever.
heart.
It's like you're
Yeah.
listening to it in a cup.
Hurts my
Or when they
heart.
plug it
Well,
into their system, they're going in from a 1/8 jack to, you know.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
you have to
I
remember.
don't even have a plug in my car. 'Cause I
Yeah.
can't stand the sound.
Yeah, yeah.
And if someone starts playing anything off their phone, I will not listen to it the first
Yeah.
time. If they're
But
like,
you
"Yo,
know
I got
what?
this track,"
They
forget
don't
it.
know better. That's the problem. They don't know
Yeah,
better.
but you have to remember, right? That's digital music too,
Yeah.
right? Back in the days when you were listening to,
Analog.
analog.
sound.
Yeah, exactly. So that has a lot to do with it too. And I mean,
point.
but
everybody's
imagine
buying music
playing,
now as
playing
MP3s.
Jay Dilla stuff on a sound
Oh,
system.
that's
is like,
sacrilegious.
No, that's
Sacrilegious.
wrong.
man,
Yeah, exactly.
you lose a lot of the elements of the music.
I remember
You know?
when I started recording for my first album, Guru would bring me up to D&D Studios, and Tony Touch would record in one room. That's actually
That's
I first
crazy.
met Tony Touch at D&D Studios.
That's crazy.
He
That's
reminded me. I was in New York a couple months back,
Mhm.
and I was in the booth with Tony. He was like, "Yo, bro, I remember you."
What year
were-
was that? You remember?
when I first met him?
Yeah. Do you remember roughly?
2000 maybe.
But
Was
you've been to his Toka Tuesday party, no?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Crazy,
a crazy
man. He's
party.
got all those people that roll up there. I met Cool Herc.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that night
Yeah.
it was
Godfather.
me. It was
Crazy.
me.
No, but you meet they're there.
It was
They're
me,
at the party.
Planet Asia, Maceo, and Tone.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
doing shots at the bar in Fat Philly. It's
crazy.
Shout out to Fat Philly from Europe. He's a
Crazy.
big promoter out
If
there.
you guys want to feel
New York.
feel or be part of like or witness and be around hip hop history and like people that were huge contributors to hip hop.
Yeah.
Go to Tony's night.
Yeah.
Toka Tuesdays. Like the times I've been, just Blaze played.
Mhm.
He was on. Jazzy Joyce.
Mhm.
I'm in the crowd and I see Grand Poobah. I'm like, damn, that's my dude. And I would buy him a Heineken and I'd buy him the beer and I'd come up to him and I would talk to him and be like, man, I just want to let you know, like I listened to your stuff, Brand Nubian from back in the days, and it's like it's crazy and an honor that I'm here and I'm buying you a beer.
Yeah.
And
And a
he
lot
took
of
a
people
picture
don't
with
credit
me.
Grand Poobah with being a major influence on fashion back
Yeah, the
then.
Tommy Hill,
And all that.
Marité,
You know,
Francois
Kanye
Gerbeau.
took a lot of
Yeah.
cues from Grand Poobah and a lot of inspiration.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
sure
see that happening.
I'm sure if there's anybody watching that has any ins to Kanye or knows
Yeah.
his camp, ask him that question.
Yeah.
For real, because I know for a fact, without even asking him personally,
Mhm.
that Kanye, if he was sitting there, would be like, "Oh, of course," like,
Yeah.
because it was just that he was so ahead of his time, you know.
Yeah, he was, man. And honestly, I found he was he was you could tell that in that group of Brand New, like, I mean, I love that group, right? But he was the only one that was able to leave the group
Mhm.
or do something solo that got,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
I think, I mean, Sadat
That
X,
album's classic.
Sadat X did some amazing stuff too. Don't get me wrong.
Wild Cowboy.
Yeah, exactly, right? But I mean, the guy was on a Sprite commercial. That just goes to show you.
That album, that 2000 album,
Yeah.
was out of this world.
Yeah.
That anybody who hasn't heard it, Grand Poobah's solo album was
2000. I think it was
That's what it's
2000.
called 2000.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's a fucking timeless hip hop
Yeah.
classic that always gets slept on when we talk about the great albums of all
100%.
time.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
really
yeah.
important body of work in hip hop.
Yeah. So I mean, anyways, for those who are in New York, you definitely go check that night out because,
Yeah.
like, aside from hearing like amazing music and stuff, but you'll definitely run into,
Legends.
you know, I ran into Houdini.
It's like the
Wow.
history
Houdini
of
back
hip hop
there,
in one
you
place.
know?
And you know what?
Very
Shout out to Tony Touch for keeping that real hip hop alive in
Yeah.
the nightlife.
He's
and
actually
the scene
doing
in New York.
they're
Yeah.
doing a documentary on mixtapes.
Oh, that's
Oh,
dope.
So he's
Man.
That's
yeah,
really.
yeah.
I'm really.
Yeah, when he
happy
was
for
in
that,
Montreal
man.
last time, he came to play with me at one of the spots here, and he was like, "Yeah,
I came through.
yeah." So there, he told me he goes,
through.
"Yeah, they're filming a
They're making a
documentary
documentary on it.
on
That's
mixtapes."
crazy.
I would love to see that. That's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
I'd
and
like
it's
to
one
be
of
a part of that.
it's one of those guys there that's he's one of the actors. I forget his name. Rappaport.
Michael
Yeah, yeah.
Rappaport.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
he's involved in that.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Well, he did the.
I like him. He
Did
does
the
a
Tribe
lot
Called
for the
Quest
culture.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did the Tribe.
So he's,
Rappaport did the Tribe Called Quest
oh, did he?
documentary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rappaport's dope.
I was gonna
Yeah.
tell Tony, I'm like, yeah, put me onto that thing, you know, because I've been doing mixtapes since back in the day too, you know.
Yeah.
Of
So-
course, but it's funny because what I mentioned Tone is last time I was in New York with him, and he was like, "Yo, bro," he's like, "I remember I met you. You were like 14 years old,
Yo,
and Guru
that's
brought you up
crazy.
to D&D,
That's
and I was
crazy.
working in the other room, and I was like, yo, who is this little dude?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And he was just like, you know, we were just like reminiscing of old times, but
Mhm.
I was saying at D&D, they still had the 2-inch reels.
Yeah.
And yo, for those who don't understand the technology of recording,
Yeah.
now we have, you know, all these softwares like Pro Tools and all this,
Yeah.
where, you know, you can get one good take and then copy paste
Yeah,
it.
paste it, yeah.
And then you can use a doubler to automatically do a perfect back vocal.
Exactly.
Back in the day,
No.
when I would go in the booth or Guru would go in the booth, you had to spit your verse perfectly.
Yeah.
Your backup had to be perfect. And
Yeah.
then you had to do 3 separate choruses with 3 separate back vocals. So
Right.
that's, what is that? 3, you know, whatever, 20 something takes. All had to be perfectly tight
Yeah.
by feel, just like relating to what you were saying with the DJ.
Mhm.
There was no wave and we
Right,
couldn't
you're not
come.
going into the studio
No.
unless you know it perfect.
And to edit something, they had to cut
Yeah.
the
Well,
tape
Yeah.
and fucking paste
Yeah,
it.
because you're paying for studio time, huh?
Right,
So-
right.
And you're paying for those reels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I-
it wasn't cheap either. To get
ran-
into that studio.
Go.
A weekend at D&D was definitely a few G's, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And but it was just like, you know, back then where you recorded was very important.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Because the energy that was in the building, you're sitting in the lounge at D&D, and you're seeing, Groove is in the house, D-Light plaque, and you're seeing Nas plaque and Biggie plaque, and Jay-Z
all the hits.
There's walls of them. So just to be in that environment, and Tone is in one room and Premier's in the other, and me and Guru are eating pizza in the lounge. It was such a hip hop environment.
What a fucking scene, eh?
Yeah. Right? It was such a hip hop environment.
Yeah.
But that's New York, man. New York, it's like you never know who you're gonna run into or be with.
And then it's like, how could you not be inspired to pen some incredible shit
and be creative?
Because you're in this space where you need to, like, you would be embarrassed to not, you're in one of the most legendary hip hop studios. How could you come with like some half-written bullshit?
No.
You're gonna nail it 20 times.
And then around the corner, I don't know if you guys remember this spot, on 8th Avenue, there was a sneaker spot called Joe's. It was right around the corner from D&D Studios.
Okay.
Me and Guru used to go up there, cop the Fila velour suits. We cop, bro, they had like a wall of sneakers. Everything's like 2 for $65, and they had all the ACGs, the Hirachis. So we might buy 8 to 12 pairs.
Easily. Yeah.
Just to bring them back to show off to this fucker.
That's funny.
Full circle. You
and
see
then
how
I would be
did
like,
that there?
We got those.
I go, yo, those haven't been around in a while, man. I know you picked those up at a mom and pop.
Some old stock, right? And back then we looked for the rare pieces.
You wanted to go into the basement.
Yeah. Oh,
forget what was on the floor on the wall, man.
100%. Oh, you got more of these in back?
Yeah.
Like, it was about finding the rarest shit in the rarest colors.
It's the same thing when you went digging for records, man. Like I hit up A1 record store and I would spend almost a whole day just digging for records. And then they saw what I was pulling out. And then they would say to me, wow, you're picking up all this? I'm like, yeah. Okay, come back tomorrow. I'll let you in the basement. I'm like, damn.
Like, there's a magical universe.
For sure.
It's like Blessed with the shoes. Like, you picked the ones.
Yeah, but what was crazy was the guy was like mad cool about it because he saw it. He respected, like he looked what I was buying and he goes, he knew he had a bunch of gems downstairs. So he said to me, if you pick this all up, come back tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll let you in the basement. And if you got into the basement, there was no prices on the records. So he would,
a deal.
Yeah. So you would leave there. I would leave there with 2 crates, and he would the basement, and he would go through it and then price it for the whole batch. So then, man,
once you're in the basement, you're golden.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more exciting than that because you're discovering shit not only that you could play, but sometimes shit you could sample and make your own. I mean,
right? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's funny you say that because that leads me to my next question. I would love to know from both of you one of your craziest, most memorable stories or gigs that you played.
Oh, wow.
And one of your worst as well.
I'll let my brother start.
So the craziest, you're on a yacht in Saint-Tropez and Diddy's on the jet ski and then, then a disaster as well.
It's tough to pick one, but
give me whatever.
A couple of years ago, I did the opening of Hermes in Rio. And they
Hold on, guys. Let me stop. Could you repeat that again for somebody who might have missed that, who don't understand what being an OG in this DJ game really means?
Well, listen, I played for some wealthy people in Brazil, like some of the wealthiest people in Brazil, and Hermes was opening up a store in Rio, and they had asked me if I wanted to do the grand opening for the store. I'm like, yeah, no problem. So it wasn't at the store. It was at a
private event.
It was a private event at a villa.
Wow.
Like a famous villa. And they had one of the godfathers of Bossa Nova. Man, I forget his name. Catiano. Anyway, they had him performing and they had me DJing with a violinist.
Wow.
In like this amazing setting.
Paradise.
Yeah, and it's all, and imagine the VPs, all the important people of Hermes were there. And and they had me, because they had a shopping experience at the actual store,
They were invited.
they had me curate the music for the store as well.
dope.
Right. So I was curating the music and I was playing the music at the event. So that would probably be one of the highlights for me the past
And for
few
those
years.
who don't know, people, Hermes, #1 luxury brand in the world.
Yeah.
So from a fashion standpoint, from a culture standpoint, it doesn't get much better a gig than that.
Well, listen, when music and fashion are sort of like, I find they're
Intertwined,
so
yeah.
like connected, you
It's
know.
water and oxygen.
And you know, I've played for D Squared, the brothers, you know, because when they're from Toronto, right?
Yeah, they used
So
to
whenever
be here. They had a boutique over here.
Yeah, but they're originally from Toronto, and whenever they would have their private events, like their Christmas party, they would hire me to play because they're house heads, right? So it's sort of like, okay, these guys are designers, are world famous designers, but they're also music lovers.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where it comes in. You're like, okay, you know what? Who did we grow up? Who did we go out to when we were going out when we were younger?
Yeah.
And it would be me playing at some parties, you know. So it's kind of cool that these gigs exist because of the club culture
And the
city.
mutual respect, I think, for the fashion guys looking at
but
people
not
like
even, but
you
yeah,
and
but even
vice versa.
because remember we were mentioning mixtapes. Man, I met Russell Peters and he said, "Man, you know what? I used to buy your mixtapes at Play D
That's
back
crazy.
in the day."
I mean, shout out my boy Starting From Scratch. He's
Right.
still Russell's
Yeah,
DJ.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
gonna bring
Scratch.
Starting From Scratch on as
Oh
well.
yeah, definitely. He
you
was just
gotta
here. He
have
was
him
just
on.
here recently. He was
He's
just
an
at the
old friend of
restaurant.
mine.
Yo, he texted me today.
We did the Guru tribute together at the Stylus Awards.
Oh, right,
and
right,
Drake,
right.
introduced us.
That's amazing.
Stylus Awards. I remember that. I remember I was there when you were there too.
Were you?
Yeah.
We just had one of our last episodes was Click, the founder of the Stylus Awards, came on.
So that was when Pioneer was. Well, I was there when Pioneer was sponsoring it. It was the Pioneer Stylus Awards.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was there
I did a few
times.
years there.
Yeah.
A few years there.
So the worst gig. I mean, there's so many like that. that you can't even.
A nightmare. Like, but a funny one.
Man.
A funny one.
Girl lost her way.
Power
No,
goes
it
out.
wasn't.
Juked on the turntables.
No, a bad gig is when they ask you to stop playing.
No,
I don't mean bad. I
you know
mean
what?
like a night, like crazy shit
A
happened.
story to remember.
Okay, I'm gonna. You know what? Because I before I started DJing and stuff like that, or even when I was
Oh
already
yeah,
DJing,
I
would
think
go,
I know. I think I know which one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I would go to my brother's parties because he would do a lot of clubs and bars, but he would also do warehouse parties and loft parties.
Wow.
And I remember one time it was a loft party.
For Gooch, no?
Yeah,
You know Gooch?
Big Gooch?
Yeah, Big
Yeah.
Gooch.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it was,
He was having this party
Yeah, so it was on St. Catherine Street in one of the lofts. You wouldn't even know
where
that.
Taboo used to be.
Yeah. So they rented a spot, set up the system, everything. Cool party. You know, my brother, like, I think my brother was playing some hip hop, some 90s hip hop, R&B stuff. I mean, that's the stuff that, we were playing back then anyways, but he would also play house. And so we're all there vibing, amazing vibe. And then there was these two guys, I think it was 2 or 3 guys that we knew wasn't from Montreal. And they were smoking weed because you could smell it. And we're, okay, so the party's going. All of a sudden, these guys are getting high, right? And they're like, okay. And they go up to my brother and goes to him, hey, I want to hear some reggae.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to hear some reggae. So my brother's like, sorry, man, you know what? Okay, I'll try, but yeah.
It's not that kind of party.
It's not that kind of party, right?
Yeah.
So then the guy's like, yo, I want to hear some reggae. So my brother's like, just looking at him, goes, hey, listen. He says, this is not the kind of party, blah, blah, blah. So the guy wasn't having it. What does he do? Pulls out his piece, shoots up the ceiling, pop, 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 pop. And we're just like this. And my brother didn't even flinch. All of us ducked, went behind speakers, we're behind tables. My brother was just like standing his ground and just looking at him like that.
That's dope.
And then the guys just nonchalantly walked out. We all looked at each other like,
Ridiculous.
what the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What did my brother do? Puts music back on, party's back on. It was a cool thing, but I was like, man, we were afraid for our lives.
You played Deport Them.
But my brother still continued with the party, man. That's just, the show.
That was the era, bro.
But
that
the
was
worst
the
thing
era.
to do as a
wild.
DJ is when something like that happens and you turn off the music, then it just becomes more chaotic.
Pandemonium.
Yeah,
You just
people
gotta
are aware.
pretend that nothing's happening and
happening,
keep the music going.
That's right.
Because the security will take care of the issue,
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
smart. That's smart.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it being a loft party, there wasn't real. I think there was one guy at the door.
yeah.
it wasn't.
Adequate security.
It was
Yeah.
really like
There was
it was
one guy at the door just to make sure that the money was being robbed. and that was about
That
it.
was about it.
Right? Because those guys could have easily done that.
So
You know?
so that was a crazy.
And we
that
later
was a
found
crazy-
out that there were guys from Toronto or something
How
like
did I
that.
know?
Out of town.
You took the words out of my mouth.
So then
They came. They knew
Yeah.
they were going back tomorrow. Fuck shit up. They're
Yeah.
going to come back.
See,
today.
what's good about my brother, you ask him what was the worst thing, he goes, there's so many, but I can't even remember them. See, so he has a short memory. That's what's great about, being somebody.
That's why he's so youthful. He
Right.
doesn't hold on to the
Well, yeah,
bullshit.
exactly, man. Because, you don't get away from that negativity. You
But
know?
the way I approach gigs now is you don't have any expectations, because
Yeah.
sometimes you're expecting a gig to be like super dope, and then it ends up being like the worst gig ever.
Oh, from my
So I
perspective,
just go in as like, okay, this is just going to be
I think that's on both sides.
Yeah,
the party goers and
Yeah.
the DJs,
and
right?
you really never know. Like I've been booked to do some shows where I'm like, oh, this is gonna
Yeah, yeah.
be crazy, and it was flop.
Yeah.
And then some random event, and it was
like fire.
amazing, and it was
Yeah.
packed. So and one thing that if you really love what you do, which all of us obviously do,
Yeah.
you give your best performance.
Yeah, yeah.
You give your 100%,
Regardless.
whether there's two people
Exactly.
100%.
or 2,000 or 20,000,
Yep.
because you're doing it because it's your passion.
Yeah, it's the love, man. You can't. There's no other way you know how to do it.
yeah.
I've
exactly.
gone to other cities to open up for like you name it, like your favorite rappers, and sometimes there'd be a sold out crowd, and sometimes there's a snowstorm or the
Yeah.
promoter's new in the game and he didn't know
Yeah.
what to do. And I performed for like 20 people, but I sweat.
Yeah.
for sure.
And they were like, yo,
Yeah.
I will be a fan for life. I will
Exactly.
support you no matter what, because
Because of that.
you didn't have to bust your ass
Exactly,
up there.
but
You
you
didn't even
did.
have to perform. We could have just been like, nah, this doesn't meet the requirement.
Which happens.
Yeah, which does happen. Yeah,
It
for
just
sure.
happened with some artists.
But I'm like, we came all the way here.
Exactly.
Let's have a good time. Let's listen to how the music sounds on the
That's a
system.
professional.
Right.
Let's
practice.
Let's practice. This is just perfect practice.
practice.
We're getting
Yeah,
paid
yeah.
to practice.
Yeah,
Fuck.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a pickup game. It's not a championship game.
There you go.
Exactly.
That's one good way to look at
What
it.
about yourself?
Okay, so I'll make it quick because because the stories could get quite long. But
Oh no, don't
no, but
worry.
I've been lucky enough to tour with some really good artists, some of my favorite artists and stuff. But one that does stand out for me was touring with Dave Chappelle, just because the guy is just an amazing person, in a sense that what you see is what you get. Like that's really him, and. I didn't know what to expect because I've been a big fan the whole time that he'd been, doing stand-up movies and whatnot, and then doing a show. He did his comeback tour here in Montreal, and I wasn't even the first DJ they chose. They chose this other DJ who happened to know the people from Just for Laughs. Oh yeah, don't worry, we got a DJ. So Dave Chappelle's manager's like, you sure? Yeah. He's a real DJ. He's bringing vinyl. Okay, they set him up. Yo, so while the DJ's on stage, he's bombing. Dave's manager is like, yo, we got to get somebody. This guy's horrible. He's fucking up Dave's vibe. So he's on stage. Dave is now on stage performing his first show. There was 2 shows back to back. I get a phone call. Toddy, we need you. Can you play for Dave Chappelle? I'm like, dude, I just finished playing golf. I'm taking my wife to dinner, and I promised her I'm taking her to dinner. There's no way I'm getting my wife upset. So then he's like, okay, so do me a favor. After your dinner, come by. I want to introduce you to Dave. I'm like, no problem. So I go to dinner with my wife. We're sitting there. She goes, what's the matter? It seems like something's bothering you. I'm like, actually, I got a call from Dave Chappelle. They wanted me DJ tonight. But why are we here? Why don't you go? Is it a great opportunity? I'm like, yeah, it is. So go. I'm like, you sure? She said, no, go. No, we'll finish dinner. I already said I'll meet up with him after the show.
man.
Anyways, fast
Smart.
forward. Dinner's finished. I get to Just for Laughs. Dave is now finishing his second show. Okay, they did 2. So I'm watching side stage, and I'm now talking to the manager, and his manager's like, listen, the guy before. The reason why he was good, but he just didn't have the music Dave wanted. And Dave uses music to pump himself up. Before he gets on the stage, he wants to hear certain tracks. So it's like a boxer. comes into theme music, or like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, somebody who's like training.
He's a very New York guy that wants to hear that Tally Quelly and that kind of thing.
So then he goes, yo, can you play that? I'm like, yeah, of course I can. He goes, okay, I'll introduce you after the show. Introduces me to Dave. We go into his dressing room. We start talking. What's the first thing he says to me? He goes, yo, I like your shoes. What am I wearing? Jordan 1s, Royal Jordan 1s. Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, yo, I like your shoes. What's he wearing? Red Jordan 1s. Mm-hmm. So then, right away, right? And then he's like, yo, so I'm like, okay, so they want to hire me to play. What do you want to hear? He goes, yo, just play good shit, man. Let's play like the good shit. I'm like, okay, no problem. I got that.
You already know what he wants. That soulful hip hop.
Exactly. Yeah. So the next day I come in, and the first thing I started doing was dropping like some good 90s stuff. And I was playing some Wu-Tang, Protect Your Neck. I remember dropping that. Bless. And I remember dropping a bunch of like really good shit that motivated him. Mm-hmm. And the song he wanted to walk into, he told me, he goes, yo, I want to walk into, because of the intro, was PSA, Jay-Z.
Yes.
Public service. So that's where he would walk into, because it would start and then it would show him and just a shadow, and then it would the curtain would drop and then he would come on. So, I mean, from that was, to me, was probably my favorite gig, because I was able to do something that helped another artist get motivated to do what he needs to do.
Dope.
And you know what? From that, he had a record 10 sold out shows. I did the last 8, because the first 2 that the DJ bombed. Mm-hmm. And so right after that, he went on a tour in the US for the Oddball Comedy Festival. And it was coined his comeback tour, because he had taken a break, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't booked for this. So I'm in Montreal, whatever. They leave. We're cool. It was nice that I got to hang out with him and his family. Mm-hmm. None of people know this, but his wife's Filipino. So, we had that connection, and her mom was actually on tour with them for that part in Montreal. And we ended up talking. So it was really cool to see Dave. It was
a natural fit. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they're leaving for Texas for their Oddball Festival, and which is his comeback tour. I'm in Montreal. I get a phone call, and it's the manager's number on my phone, Sina. So he's like, "Hey, Tootie, what's up?" I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" He goes, "Listen, you want to come out and play in Texas?" I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, we want you. Dave wants you to come out and play, man, because they didn't have DJs booked for the first 4 dates of his comeback tour." And so I ended up playing 3 of his dates in Texas and 1 in Hartford, because of that, first time that I had a chance to play for him. And I kind of knew what he needed, and the fact that it was a natural fit for me, because that's stuff that I love playing.
Of course.
And the fact that he loves sneakers and
the Jordan
this and that.
Definitely
we would talk, like every time we'd see each other, he'd be in a dope pair of sneakers, and I would be, in my sneakers.
He was really the guy when he had the Chappelle show. He used that platform to 100%. Put Common and Kanye and Quali.
Yeah. He had his block party, no?
Of course.
Yeah.
Block party was sick.
Yeah. So I mean,
so it was a good fit.
And he would have like neo soul artists with hip hop artists.
Yes. So Music Soul Child and all that.
So for me, that would be probably like the highlight for my career. There's a bunch of them, but as probably a low or the worst gig, it would have to be some like corporate gig that I did. I won't mention a company just because, they paid me big money and I don't want to, but yeah, it was like a Christmas event, and they basically wanted me to be a jukebox, which, I mean, you know what? It's a corporate event. You kind of expect that. But then when it's a lawyer's firm, again, I won't mention which one it is, whatever.
It keeps getting closer to
right?
the name.
Yeah, I won't say. But then
it's located at this address. But they represented this guy.
This is their logo.
No, but then they feel like, hey, man, like, we want to hear what we want to hear.
And we're paying
I was but I was playing what they wanted to hear. But they still want to be like
abusive about it.
Like we're lawyers. We're lawyers. Or like, but it wasn't the older ones. It was the younger ones that just joined the firm.
Right.
Or, and they were the ones that were being like,
cocky.
Yeah, we own you kind of thing. Like, you're playing for us. No, that's their mentality was.
You go like this.
Yeah.
You hand them this. You say, here.
Yeah.
You say you want an iPod? go nuts.
But I mean, that's, to me, I mean, that happens every now and then, but I just feel like I could do without that.
Sure.
They don't know who I am. Sure. They see me as being a DJ. They don't know who I've worked with, what I've accomplished, and whatever. I don't even expect them to know that or want to care for that. But have some respect and some decency, like
just as a human.
Yeah, exactly.
Human to human interaction. We were saying before.
And so to me, that's sometimes the worst like parts of doing gigs.
When they get carried away.
Like I did a prominent wedding for somebody in Montreal, and the actual guy who I'm doing his wedding comes up to me and is basically saying to me, "You work for me. You're doing this." And I was this close to leaving the party, but I was like, I didn't want to get sued or I didn't want to get in a bad position.
Yeah.
So I still played the party. But I mean, it's times like that where you're like, do I really need that money for somebody to treat me that way?
Yeah. You can't put a price tag on respect. But at the same time, sometimes those corporate gigs play so well that maybe you'll tolerate a little.
Yeah, but that's it, right? Because it allows you to get other gigs or meet other people.
Right. You don't want to mess with your reputation.
And sometimes we know from being in this business that the coolest gigs and the most gratifying come with the smallest paycheck.
Right. Yeah, for
and
sure.
the shittiest gigs come sometimes with the,
Right. So, I mean, the way I handle like that thing specifically, okay, you know what else? I won't get, the lawyers I won't mention, but I did a Molson wedding. I won't mention which person it was, but...
a Molson.
Yeah, a Molson. So the wife planned everything. Told me what music to play. I'm playing. Dance floor's packed. Everyone's having a great time. He rolls up. He's drunk because Molson, and he's like,
drank all the beer in the factory.
He's like, my grandfather founded this club. My grandfather, this and that. I'm just looking at him like, really? He goes, and he goes up and goes, hey, what is this garbage? I want you to play some reggae. He says that to me.
Here we go again.
Hold on, but
he doesn't have a piece on it.
No gun. He didn't have a piece.
Reggae, yeah?
He didn't have a piece.
At least he didn't have a piece.
Yeah. So then he goes to me, I want to hear reggae. But hold on, the reggae he wants to hear is like
a slow jam.
Like roots, which
like
is great.
Slow reggae.
Yeah, but it's not stuff that people dance to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Rockers.
Yeah, like I think
that's
he might
the end of the night.
me.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Time to go.
So he goes to me, play this song, and I happen to have it. I'm like,
Which
okay.
song was it? Do you remember?
You know what? I don't want to get the wrong artist, but it's like along the lines of like Yellow Man. You know Yellow Man?
Of course.
Yellow Man, but then there was also maybe Gregory Isaac.
Oh, so you want some old school shit?
Not Gregory
Yeah, he
Isaac.
wants like
There was
60s,
another,
70s reggae.
Want some old
Isaac,
school shit?
I forget. Yeah, old stuff, rocker stuff.
Yeah.
Peter Tosh, maybe?
Yeah, something like that, right? Exactly. So I'm like, you know what?
He was trying to impress you with his old school knowledge. I think that's what was happening, right?
Nobody
Molson's
goes to
trying
me.
to show off.
Yeah, so he goes
by the
to
way,
me.
we're very open to beer sponsorship.
Just don't
he
ask
goes
him
to
to play
me,
reggae.
I want you to stop this right now. Play this. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
I'll play this if you stay right here. Stand right beside me and stay right here. Because I knew his wife, who was on the dance floor, and her friends that are like partying, would pull a fit.
Very smart.
So I played it. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, oh, getting into it. Everyone just stops dancing, looks at me. She comes running. What is this? I go, ask him. She goes, what are you doing? He goes, yeah. He asked me to play this. I told him not to leave because I knew you would have this reaction. I know what to play for. We've discussed what I need to play.
Nice.
And what does she do? Goes, get out of here. Go over there and have a drink. Made him go inside and continue drinking, binging by the bar inside. Not even out.
There's a certain level of babysitting that's required to get that sweet corporate.
So anyway, that was probably
corporate money.
That was probably one of my worst ones.
Very smart by you, though. Keep him close. That was
real quick before we close this out. And by the way, I've had a fantastic time again. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
No,
I would
pleasure.
like to know from both of you guys. You guys been involved in the culture for so long. Where do you see the game going?
Oof.
Our city, nightlife wise. What are you looking forward to? Where a little recap. Where are we at now?
Nightlife? I think we still have a pretty healthy scene. I mean, we still have, if you want to go to an after hours, you still have circus, you still have stereo. If you want to go to a supper club, you still have, the options are still there. You can go to Fly Gin, you could go to Subois. If you want to hear deep house, you could go to Salon Dome, you could go to Speakeasy,
or one of your parties.
Or, if I'm doing a party.
Where are you playing these days?
I do Nakarat at the Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
Is
it a weekly, a monthly?
It's a weekly. I play there every Thursday. So I do the Sanka sets.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we do the terrace in the summer, which is a dope terrace.
Yeah, it's beautiful there.
So there I can play anything I want. Musically, I can play whatever I want. And then where else? And then I have my monthly party called Bang Bang the Boogie. I have Got Soul Sessions at Salon Domain. And then I have
the restaurant, gentlemen. I'm curious. That's where you'll see me.
Oh, the restaurant. Yeah, I play at the restaurant once in a while. Tootie does once in a while as well.
What's the name of the restaurant again?
Junior. It's
where is it located?
1964 Notre Dame. In Griffintown.
Yeah.
Burgundy,
Sick.
Griffintown, whichever.
Definitely go check it out. I've heard nothing.
It's authentic Filipino food. We're
No balut, please.
no, but we did have
I'm off that.
I mean, we try to keep it as real as possible, and that the restaurant is an extension of my brother and I.
Exactly. Yeah.
Our sister's one of the partners. Our old school OG friend is one of the
From
partners.
our partner.
So it's not a mom and pop place. It's a brother and sister type of
family
vibe.
kind of thing.
Family restaurant.
And music's an important part of it. Sneakers are important part of it.
Yeah, like if you go there, you'll know that it's like a Flores
your
joint.
place.
Yeah, it's a Flores joint. The
And
music's there.
we're proud of being Filipinos, and we want to share our culture with people, and we want to put our best foot forward doing so. And we want the younger generation and the older generation to come in, like Filipinos come in and sort of be like, yeah, we actually have an amazing place that we could take our friends to, and
there was a void like that. We filled that void with our restaurant because a lot of people over the years would ask us, "Hey, man, where do we go and have good Filipino food?"
And
there's a spot on Victoria. There's
no, but I mean, it's not the same. I mean, the food could be great, but maybe the ambiance is not the same.
Yeah.
And I find that my brother and I have a responsibility as Filipinos and as guys that are in the scene, and we want to make sure that it's done properly, and we take pride in it, and hopefully it shows with the food and the vibe.
I'm sure it does. Definitely, everybody go check it out.
Yeah.
So,
what about yourself? What do you think?
You know what? I
From a
think
hip hop perspective.
From a hip hop perspective, I think the scene is doing well in Montreal, and I think that it'll only get better. Because because of the fact that a lot of places now do play hip hop openly, like it's not like a taboo thing. Where back in the days, you could only hear hip hop on a certain night at this club during this night of the week. Mm-hmm. Now you could pretty much hear it everywhere, and because of that, it allows for the scene to be healthy and stuff like that. But the only thing that's I think keeping it from growing faster or becoming better as a product is the fact that it's becoming watered down. Because it's easily accessible. You're hearing the same stuff at all the places now.
Right.
That's where it becomes the DJ's job.
But where would you guys go to hear good hip hop?
That's what was my next question.
In the city.
Where would you go if you had a night off?
Oh wow. You know what? I rarely have
basement.
nights. Yeah, I rarely have nights off. But
put on a mix.
You know what? There's still a bunch of DJs that I do like hearing. I'm not. Not really familiar with a lot of the new cats that are coming out. But there's still some of my favorite DJs that are playing out regularly. So I'll go hear them. Like I know you had Quite Sane as a guest here.
Of course.
And to me, he's still one of my favorite DJs,
he's active. Shout out to Sane. Guy. He's still around. You can find him.
Well, Sane was my tour DJ with me and Guru all the time. He was my DJ for 15 years.
Yeah, so I have a lot of respect for him because, not only because I went to school with him and I knew him, but also, watching him doing what he does. And honestly, I think he is, to me, one of the best DJs in North America.
Wow.
Yeah.
He is.
Quite Sane is a unique talent.
Yeah.
Was always ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And definitely a world-class hip-hop DJ and a party rocker.
People don't realize what kind of talent we have in Montreal in terms of like what we put out as DJs for the size of the city.
Absolutely.
I mean, look, Scratch, he lives in Toronto, but he's from Montreal.
Yeah.
Right? So
A-Track.
we're not trying to claim him, but Montreal,
Scratch, A-Track, you guys, Sane. And I feel like we were always really at the forefront of
even
DJ
if you go from like hip hop, reggae, house, techno, EDM.
Oh yeah.
Montreal
DJs,
has a good representation internationally in any genre of music.
What about the Goon Tribe guys? You mess with those guys?
Yeah, those are my
homies. Yeah, there are homies.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
they're a generation before
right
us.
after, because those are like I met those guys through Epic Mealtime when I was doing stuff. But Justin Sanchez, I don't know if you know, and
of course.
I mean, those guys are awesome.
Those are great guys. They're super supportive, super active in the scene.
Yeah, we love those guys, and I mean
that's the next generation. That's
well, you know what, you were asking me where I go, where I would go listen to good music for hip hop and stuff, and I mentioned Quite Sane. But again, those are guys that I would have definitely mentioned, the Goon guys. Those what I like what those guys did is they did what they wanted to do. Yeah. They didn't sell out.
Yeah.
They didn't go and want to play this establishment or this club.
That's right.
And then dumb their shit down to become to do Goon, but a kind of like a more commercial,
fit in,
fit in. They did their own. They had one of the longest running hip hop nights in probably North America.
I think it is. Yeah.
Right. So to have that,
they have a really loyal core crowd that follows them.
Yeah, 100%.
Rather than them, begging to play at the hottest club.
Yeah.
They make the night.
Exactly.
And their core follows them, which is so important.
I'm on a date. It was a first date. We walk out of the pinball bar on Saint Laurent.
Okay.
And some little kid, I know right away it's coming. He sees me and he goes like this. And I know he's going to ask for a picture, right? It's like peak Epic Mealtime.
Yeah.
And so I'm on a first date. This little kid's asking me for a picture. My girl that's with me is like, what's going on? Yeah. And we walk by, where did Goon Tribe used to play with the rope, the velvet rope? Tokyo. Walk by Tokyo, and one of the guys spots me like, yo, you got to come upstairs, have a drink with us.
Yeah.
I just finished taking like a fan picture, and now they're opening the gate because I have to come up and have a drink.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got me laid that night. Thank you, gentlemen.
That's funny.
It was a good time.
So who did you actually pay to set this whole scenario? Was it the kid or the bouncer?
Just everything played out perfectly.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think one thing that I should add is for like local DJs or DJs in general, like specifically talking because we're talking about the Montreal scene, is for those DJs to go and hear other DJs play in other cities. Because what it does for you is that it allows you to see what else is going on outside of your bubble.
Right.
And I think for me, I could even speak for my brother, I'm sure, because we are able to travel a lot. My brother has residencies in Toronto. I do too.
Yeah, but even before that, I would go to New York.
New York, yeah.
I would go to New York to buy my records.
Yeah.
And while I'm buying my records, I would go to the club nights and hear the DJs that I thought were dope.
That's right.
Yeah.
I would go here.
Get inspired.
Let me ask you, who are those DJs for both
Louis
of you?
Vega is one of the doper DJs out there. Back then it was Timmy Ridgesford. He had his night called Shelter. And then you had a party called Body and Soul. That was with Joe Clausel, Francois K, and Danny Crivet. Like, I would go listen to these guys because these guys were on top of their game. That's right.
Yeah.
And if you wanna get to that level, man, you gotta do your homework.
The advantage is you can go on YouTube today and you can study.
Yeah, but you still don't get the feeling.
You don't
get the
but
feeling.
I'm just saying, if you don't have the means, if you're not traveling, you could still get that education.
Plus, there was also an element of obviously, being a student of the game, but also networking in the real world. Like I remember Guru used to take me to this club in the meatpacking district called Lotus.
Yeah,
of course. Armand Van Helden used to do, I think, a Monday night. And like, I didn't even realize who he was at the time. I just met him like as a friend of Guru's.
Right.
And I remember hearing his name, but then I realized later, like, how fucking incredible Armand Van Helden was. And then I saw him at, what was the rave they used to put on at?
Cream?
No, at Palais de Congrès.
Oh, Ballon Blanc?
Bingo. I seen him at Ballon Blanc one night. And I grabbed him and I was like, I used to come see you when I was a kid and I used to be in the booth. And then he remembered right away. He's like, with Guru. I'm like, because again, going back, those worlds were always melting. The real OG house.
Yeah, but Armin was from Boston.
He's also from a hip hop head too, right?
He's a hip hop head too.
I know he is. I know.
Exactly.
I remember seeing him wearing the earliest Echo pieces. And I was like, who's this house guy? You know what I'm saying? But he was a major influence on me to be open-minded to house music, not just to be ignorant. Because, we tended back in those days to be very like, if it's not Biggie and it's not Nas and it's not you know what I mean? We were with champion hoodies and bomber jackets. And I was one of the only cats from my circle who was like, nah, but if it's soulful, You know what I mean?
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'll
You can
fuck
get
with
down,
it. And I'm
yeah.
like, yeah. And then
Yeah.
you know, pit bulls of the world ended up capitalizing it. And pit bulls the
Yeah,
most, you
it's
know, the
true.
worst example musically, perhaps.
Mhm.
But it
Globally,
was
he did a great job.
it was
Yeah.
inevitable for those
Yeah.
worlds to mix, you know, commercially
Exactly.
to be commercially monstrously successful.
But you're right. The networking is such an important part.
Yeah,
of it,
that's
but-
that's why I'm.
But it's the experience that you can't. You
Yeah.
know, why do you go to a cinema to watch a movie? It's
There
the
you go.
experience.
Yeah.
There
You
you
know,
go.
you want
Yeah.
that experience.
So see how you were saying about you seeing Armin, right?
Mm.
Like when I used to travel, and just to echo what my brother was saying, you would go buy your records, hit up sneaker stores, clothing stores, and then go to the clubs and bars.
of course.
And I mean,
That was the circuit.
right. And like one of my earliest memories was being in New York, going to meatpacking, because meatpacking you don't go there during the day, but nighttime all the clubs,
Poppin'.
yeah.
For those who don't know New York very well, I just want to explain it. It's New York's old port, cobblestone
Pretty much,
streets,
yeah.
Yeah.
club district, art galleries.
Yeah.
Continue.
No, but even then, like you could walk there during the day and not know that building you just passed or that
It's
door
the most legendary.
is like a hot spot later that night. And so
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you
Yeah.
guys remember APT?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
in
hold
the
on.
meat-
Rich
Hold on,
Medina
wait a minute,
was
wait a
talking
minute,
about it.
wait a minute, wait a
I
minute.
played there.
Hold
That's
on, hold
dope.
on.
That's a legendary spot.
But how did you know that's where I was going with my story?
Because
That
we
is-
are
that
soul
doesn't make any
brothers,
sense.
man. You did it to this with the sneakers. I
Right.
just did it with your story.
So this is my earliest memory, right? Because I know we're running out of time and stuff
we're
like that.
not
but
running out of
We're not
time.
running out
We're
of time.
having
Okay,
this
cool.
conversation.
So I'm out in New York, meatpacking, but during that day I crushed it. Right, I bought all the records I needed. I went to Beach Street Records, bought all the records I
course.
needed, bought sneakers, went up to a couple spots, and
Bet you got some low dunks
I'm feeling
with a little bird
I'm
on them
feeling
and shit.
good.
I know what you were looking for. Even that
So
day.
I'm feeling nice, right? And of course, I want to go out. So where do I go? I end up in a meatpacking, and I go to APT. So I walk in there, and obviously everyone's looking at me weird, like, "Who's this guy? Why is he here so early?" Because like everyone's getting there late, but I'm out of town, and I'm like,
It's a late spot.
No, but it packed up.
Yeah.
You couldn't go later because you weren't getting in.
They wouldn't let you downstairs. They made you
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
upstairs at the
Right.
custody bar.
Yeah, see? So what I mean? So I'm there early, and I'm like, all right, I get a couple of beers, and I'm with one of my friends. And then I'm looking at a guy DJ, and I'm like, I like what he's playing. And he's playing eclectic stuff, right?
Of course.
And I'm like, it's this tall guy, and he has the glasses, and he's leaning over. He's super tall.
And his name is Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong, bro.
Bro, it's like, and yo, by the
Do
way,
you see
we've never
that? We did
had
not
this
talk
discussion
about this.
before.
But this
Great
is
chemistry between you two. By
But this is what I mean. But this is what I mean, man. Like, go out. If you can't travel, because we're lucky enough to be able to do that for work.
Yeah.
If you can't travel, at least go to different spots in our city.
Yeah.
Hit up other spots
You're right.
you wouldn't normally go. Because you know what? You'll be surprised. If you go up to Laval, I'm sure there's a dope night out in Laval.
Yeah.
You go to the South Shore, there's a dope. You go to West Island, go east,
Soak
you go
up
anywhere.
the culture.
Yeah,
do
even
the
when
knowledge.
DJs come into town, you should go check them out.
Yeah.
100%.
Sure.
So because that'll give you an opportunity to hear other people's interpretation of how they play music, and that's going to hopefully make you be creative and also think, oh man, I should try that. Oh, I never thought of playing this song. Oh, I don't have this remix. What is this?
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. And that's
And even the fact that we've been doing it for so long, I'm still learning. Tootie's still learning. We're still learning.
for always
A
students
master-
of the game.
A master's forever student, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
So-
I gotta put that in a verse. APT, one of the craziest parties I went to. I remember seeing Stretch,
Yeah.
Bobito,
Oh yeah.
Pete Rock, and Questlove all
On-
playing the same
wow.
party
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a basement, and it only fits like 100 people.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the
crazy.
kind of energy that the old New York had.
No, but still there. Like Toka Tuesdays, you'll find that.
But that's why
Yeah.
I was saluting Tone that he's one of the last of the Mohicans
Yeah.
who are keeping that vibe alive.
Right.
Yeah.
You know
right.
what I mean?
I mean, there's even some really dope like house nights and stuff like that too. I mean, Cielo is still pretty much.
Oh no, it's closed now. Cielo
closed. Oh,
and
closed.
Cielo just closed.
Yeah, but Tony moved his night there.
yeah, he was doing
Okay.
Toka and he was doing Funk Box.
Funk Box.
That's
there,
right,
too.
Funk Box. But they moved it to
Somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Okay.
I think it's in the LES now.
Okay.
I think it's in the LES.
That's
now.
possible. Yeah.
I was just there in January.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But basically, shout out to you guys for continuing to not just be passionate about the culture, but to contribute to the culture. You guys have played every venue,
Mhm.
played with the for and with the best of the best. Whether it's Chappelle, whether it's Hermes,
Mhm.
I know this guy's co-headlined with
Right.
with the
Oh
greatest
yeah.
in the world. What do you guys look forward to now in life? You guys have families. You guys have had nightclubs.
That's funny.
You guys have restaurants.
Mhm.
What's the next step for the Flores brothers?
Wow.
Well, we're trying to work on opening a new spot, and hopefully that'll be sometime this summer.
Restaurant,
Hopefully.
club, whatever.
Restaurant bar.
Okay.
So that's one of the new projects. But what do I look forward?
Okay.
Man, you know what? I just like my routine in the city. I know my when I like I play hockey. I love it when I have my routine and there's no like interruption.
Amazing.
So when the traveling does come along, it fucks up with my shit
You
because
appreciate the simple things.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, where can I get a good hamburger? I know where I could get a good hamburger in the city,
Yeah.
But when you're traveling, you're like, man, I want a hamburger.
Yeah,
You can't,
exactly.
these are simple things in life that sometimes can be the most
Important.
Yeah.
important things, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Which is funny that you mentioned that, and maybe we could have you guys back on sometime to
Yeah, no
talk
doubt.
about this
Talk
because
about burgers?
yeah, we
It's been
definitely,
fantastic.
we need a part 2 to talk about food.
We
Right, I'm
definitely
in,
need a
guys.
part
Let's
2
go.
to talk about food and a part 2 to talk about what he just touched on. Growing up
Mhm.
in hip hop
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the art of being a successful, functioning, grown ass family man,
Yeah.
and still being hip hop, still being cultural, still
Yeah.
being house, and staying authentic to both lanes because this
Yeah.
is something we've been talking about.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but there's like
It's an
everything.
art.
Yeah, and you just have to maintain a balance.
Right?
You
Well,
know,
I
so
think
what
a
is-
lot of it also comes down to it's what we do.
Yeah.
It's us.
It's us.
Like we were putting on a character and we were being something we're
We're
not,
trying to be somebody. Yeah.
then it eventually will catch up to you. But if it's something you do
Of course.
and it is something that almost becomes it is part of you and people identify that with you, I'm still gonna be that 50-year-old DJ
Amazing.
that's still gonna be playing in clubs that the 20-year-old DJs want my spot.
Yeah.
I love this. You're
And
right.
I'm out like I'm 45 going on 40. My brother is older than me. I won't give a
Date
his
him.
exact, yeah. But I mean, people are still coming for our spot, man. And
I personally, if I know one of you guys are playing, because I enjoy both scenes, I'm coming specifically because you guys are there,
Right.
because I know that I can actually enjoy the music. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
There's a certain quality.
What I mean is there's definitely a high quality, and salute both of you guys for that. I mean more from a wellness standpoint.
oh right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
As we get
Because,
older,
we
yeah.
grow up watching, hip hop. Our idols were drinking and smoking.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
a
I don't
lot-
really drink. I've
Yeah.
never done drugs.
Well, that was my next. So
Exactly, right?
So would you
Cheers, never.
credit that as a key to your longevity?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's for sure an important part of it.
It's
It's very
funny
easy to
because
get caught up, right?
yeah. It's funny
yeah.
because when people talk about the Flores brothers, they know my brother's the one who doesn't drink and I'm the one who does.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Oh, you're the fun Flores,"
Oh,
you know.
wow.
But no, but it's because they make that joke just because they can't buy my brother a drink.
He's serious. He's
yeah,
all business.
yeah.
That's a
He's
good
like,
thing, though.
yeah, you
But
know.
it's no, but it's funny because my brother and I we're similar, but we do different things. Like
Sure.
I don't
Yeah.
drink, he drinks. He'll play hip hop, I'll play house.
Yeah.
He'll play basketball, I play hockey.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
But
Right.
that's why
I
you
have
guys
girls.
are a great team.
I have 2 daughters. He has a son. You know what I mean? So it's
Your
like
similar interest, everything's almost
funny,
identical,
man,
but like
how
a
that-
little tweak.
yeah. It's crazy.
That's cool.
It's crazy.
I
But
just-
it works out,
It definitely does work out, and I think that it's so important for younger cats who want to be artists or
Yeah.
DJs or want to be in entertainment like Lemmy, for them to be
I want
able
to be in
to
entertainment.
not want to, no,
Okay, I didn't
the
get
young kids who want to do what you're doing.
Yeah,
respect.
yeah, yeah,
want to be
exactly.
a
Using you as an
YouTuber.
example.
Yeah.
Respect.
Who want to be part of this culture and who want to
fair.
contribute something to this
Thanks, Bless.
culture, for them to have positive role models
Yeah.
and realistic people to look up to have a blueprint
These are
to
the
say, hey,
guys.
you
Yeah.
guys don't have to blow your brains out with alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
You guys don't have to live up to these ridiculous expectations.
Right. That
to
are
be-
glorified sometimes and stuff like that.
and
yeah.
put yourself in the fire to do it.
Exactly.
These
That
are
you
quality
can-
dudes right here.
Yeah.
Grow older in this culture and have a great family life and
Yeah.
look young and still be passionate
Yeah.
and not have to go down, because a lot of people we came up with in the
Oh,
scene
yeah.
are no longer
Oh, yeah.
around.
Exactly.
God bless them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because they took a different path.
Right. Well, the thing is, I think it also comes down to the people you have around you.
Mhm.
Your circle, your immediate circle, and the people that will, if you are straying off your path or are fucking up,
They keep you
they'll
in
be like,
line.
"Hey, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, stop. Do you realize that?"
I was lucky enough to have
Yeah.
that happen to me. I
Yeah.
was in a bad way.
Yeah,
See?
yeah.
When we first started popping off and millions of views and
Yeah.
Yeah,
Los
yeah.
Angeles and all that shit, two of my closest friends sat me down. They're like, dude, like,
Yeah.
you haven't
Chill.
slept in 4 days?
Yeah.
You're on all kinds of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
They're like, you're not even the same, like, calm the fuck
Yeah.
down.
And no
I
matter
did.
what happens, it
Yeah.
ain't gonna be no good if you have a heart attack.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You understand?
You need
Like,
you need a good supporting cast.
Yeah.
You're
and I
100% right. And I wouldn't be
think-
here right now if I didn't have Dave and Josh and my
Yeah.
brother. Respect to all three of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see,
See?
so I mean, usually you look at someone who's successful, you look and they usually have a really good supporting
people behind them.
around them and
so
stuff
family
like
first, you guys would credit it to.
that.
Yeah, for
family
sure.
and
Family and friends.
friends. Like
We keep our circle tight.
yeah,
You know.
and we know
we're
a lot
very
of people.
approachable people. Like if guys come up to me and ask me for advice, and man, I'd be more
Yeah.
than happy to share it. And that's how we are.
Well, that's why I was so happy to have you guys on the podcast because
Mhm.
you guys are I always spoke with you guys separately.
Yeah,
But it was always
It's true.
It is true.
It was always a great conversation and a really I think there's a lot of game and a lot of things that a lot of cats out there could learn from
Yeah.
you guys' unique journeys in music.
well, I try to mentor people when I have a chance to.
We actually teach. I
Yeah.
teach. I teach.
Yeah,
I give lessons.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, one of my students, I started with him when he was 10 years old, and right now he's
Yeah.
playing in clubs, doing
He's doing well,
parties.
yeah.
And you know
corporate
what's
stuff.
cool about him? He can set up a whole party himself. He could set up a sound system.
he learned.
He
from the-
learned the proper
Yeah.
way. Because every time I teach people and they want to learn, I teach them the basics.
That's
2
right.
turntables and a mixer.
You have to.
That's it.
Yeah,
And then from there, they can do whatever they want after.
yeah,
You know,
That's dope.
so you got to stick with the basics.
So for those of you who didn't just catch that, you can have the opportunity to learn from the world's famous, internationally known, holding his own, JoJo Flores. So
Yeah.
don't be shy to hit him up. If
Yeah,
you guys
for
are
sure.
serious about your craft.
Yeah.
Hit JoJo up.
I mean, there's guys that have been DJing for years that still ask me for advice, or
Yeah.
they'll take in
Lessons.
a lesson and say, "Listen, man, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing?" I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I'm down. Just let me know."
That's dope. That's
And the
dope.
same for me. I'm like, there's guys that I learn from, and I'll ask them questions. You shouldn't have an ego.
No, never.
no,
Never. I always said when working in the studio with other artists or producers, it's what's best for the record.
yeah,
I don't care who came up with the idea, who sang the hook. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Whatever's best for the record, because at the end of the day, we want to make timeless art.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he comes up with the sample and he comes up with the hook and I just pen the verse,
Yeah,
whatever
Amen.
works. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for being here.
My
I
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Our
Oh,
pleasure.
I
our
would love
pleasure.
to have you guys
It was fun.
back
It was a
on.
lot of fun. And,
Yeah.
it's good that we get to know you as well. It's not just. It's
been
not
a
just,
lot of
it's not-
years
It wasn't
we've been-
just all about us, but it's good.
We've been talking with a half an ear in every club in
But
different cities.
No, but the good thing about it is we have the same respect.
Yeah.
Even if we don't see each other often,
Absolutely.
we respect what you do.
Yeah.
You
Likewise.
respect what we do,
Likewise.
and that's what
Absolutely.
my brother and I we that's our approach. We just have that respect for whatever anyone's doing that's positive.
Right.
Likewise, man. And definitely, like I said, man, props to you guys for staying true to the music and true to the culture and for, you know, contributing so much to the scene. So definitely. And like I said, man, we got to have you guys back on.
Part two. Let's do it.
We will.
I think there's so much we need to
Let's
cover.
book it now.
I'm down.
We're going to sign off
Thank you,
like
gentlemen.
this.
Thank you.
You're locked into the Moment of Truth podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure. My name is Bless. This is my co-host, Let Me Know.
Yo.
Salute JoJo Flores and Toddy Flores, a.k.a. the world-renowned Flores brothers.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being
Peace
here.
out, everyone. Peace out.
Yeah, represent one time on the M.O.T.